dog. I a good sissified boy. Effeminate men spread your cheeks. They all soft. Dog. I need my boyfriend. Please spread your leg, dog. Suck my ass, please. Please. Dog. Philip came in from his office with a moist beard, and he rang out his sweat ring stained shirt. I maneuvered myself over to him and I said, Phil, let me handle the memberships for you. Dog. I'm not a good dog. I need my boyfriend. Please spread your leg, dog. Suck my ass, please. Please. Dog. I need my boyfriend. Please. Laying on your back, dog. Suck my ass, please. Please. Man, I want to thank everybody for the 1K. We finally made it. We did it, and it could not have happened without you guys. Lost all my subscribers. I'm not monetized anymore. I shouldn't have attacked the boyfriend. I need my boyfriend. I know, pray when I see it. I've been a predator all my damn life. I'm built different than them. I'm cut from a different cloth. We ain't the same. There may be some gunfire, bloodshed, and bullets. Dog. Damn. Blue flavor trickle. Dog. Laying on your back, spreading your leg, dog. I know, pray when I see it. Damn. Dog. I've been a predator all my damn life. Ain't no clapback videos, I'm looking. I'm built different. We ain't the same. Dog. I'll touch him anytime I feel like it. I'm touching him now. I come from scum. That's why I'm a Christian. I come from backwoods, incest-driven maniacs. I'm designed and built to bully effeminate men. We come from the bottom, and he raises us up, and he cleans us off. And from that point forward, I've been walking a clean. Dog. Damn. Doodle flavored trickle. Dog. Laying on your back, spreading your leg, dog. I know, pray when I see it. Dog. Damn. I've been a predator all my damn life. Punk ass sissified boy. I'm built different, dog. We ain't the same. Please, suck my ass.
Hold up, hold the hell up. I didn't want to forget those bargain bin fluffers who calls themselves detractors. No, not all of you fam. Season motherfucking 2.
I need my boyfriend. Spread your leg, dog. I need my boyfriend. Laying on your back, dog. I need my boyfriend. Hey man, I want you to suck a dog off, dog. I need my boyfriend. For a train being run on effeminate men, dog. I need my boyfriend. Punk ass sissified boy. Spreading your leg. I need my boyfriend. For a train being run on effeminate men. Let me tell you something, brother. When I hold a man's penis, I tell you what I do. I hold on to it tight, brother. Because if that penis is marked to Philip, woo, that's how it happens. Hey, man, I want you to suck a dog off.
Big ups, boyfriends. Good morning. The Pastor Miller saga is one of my favorite forgotten sagas in the DSP Vortex. Just so funny. So many good sound bites. I hope you're all doing well this morning. Really appreciate you coming by. We've got some things to talk about. Had to push the stream from Friday night to today. Had a family and friend style situation come up on Friday night, but comes with having friends. Sometimes shit comes up and you gotta help a friend out. Hold on. Devilish Face wants penis sniffing stuff. I got it here somewhere.
Penis sniffing stuff.
You gotta
penis sniffing stuff.
Okay, I think it's playing. I think it played. It played. Yes.
Penis sniffing stuff.
But now I can't hear it. Hold on.
Penis sniffing
I think you can
stuff.
hear it, but I can't. Yeah, you can hear it, but I can't. But big ups. Hello, everybody. We've got several things to talk about. We'll do a couple call-in segments at some point. Yes. Well, so Timo, yes, I do have a life and a few friends and family that I care for. So sometimes you gotta move the stream, man. But we're here now. This is a Sunday edition. I'm gonna start with the thing, which is DSP is taking advantage of disabled people. So let's go. Let's get into the thing. This is from Snort Burnell. We're not going to watch this whole thing. I'm more interested in the very beginning when he talks about the Pignosis and diving into your wallets and all that. So let's fucking go. And we're not skipping the Snort Burnell intro because it's iconic and I like it, and it makes me smile every time.
This is how to play the game.
Fucking iconic, man.
Oh my god!
Milk? Are you guys thinking about milk?
Holy
Some people buy
shit.
milk.
That is an epic fucking intro, dude.
Milk?
And I have to warn everyone.
What you may see
right now is going to be absolutely disgusting. Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
I don't know.
Big up Snort
Some people
Burnell.
are saying something about Wheelie Steve. Who is Wheelie Steve? Here's the truth. If
Big
people are
ups,
interested
Chody. Good morning.
in interacting with me, talking with me, interviewing me, there's many ways they can contact me. There's email, there's X. I have public ways to talk, and I'm sure if people were interested, they would reach out to me. I have no idea who Wheelie Steve is. Never heard of him. Okay.
He's a disabled guy who called.
How much money would you guys want to bet that DSP at least Googled Wheelie Steve after this stream? I think the odds are high, right? I mean, it's what I would do when someone mentions a creator. I usually Google them. Like a good example is 4 or 5 months ago when that dude in Praise of Shadows, that soy boy, and it's funny me calling people a soy boy because some people would say I'm a leftist cuck, but I'm not nearly as cucked as a lot of these online bread tuber types. But when In Praise of Shadows was throwing shade at people like Wendigoon and Oompaville, I looked those guys up and started watching them, and I unironically like Oompaville, and I unironically like Wendigoon. If you haven't seen Oompaville's collab with Nikocado Avocado, I highly recommend it. They basically stayed in the same house for 5 days, and it is fucking insane. And it was pre-skinny Nikocado Avocado. Amazing. Just a fucking fire content. So fucking funny. But anyways, usually when someone mentions a creator, whether it's in my chat or just in another video I'm watching it, I look it up. It's just good internet literacy, man. But yeah, there's no better way to send people to Wheelie Steve than to say I have no idea who the fuck this guy is. Because Detractor, any Detractor that hadn't seen that video looked him up, and anyone in Phil's chat that didn't know who Wheelie Steve was probably Googled him. Like, he'd be a good influence for Jade, right? Like, he's a YouTuber. He's more of like a commentary tuber if you watch his stuff, but he has interesting takes on stuff. I think he would be a decent role model for Jade instead of this fucking bozo.
Called you out for manipulating disabled people into giving you money. Wow. So apparently, just listen to this. I am some kind of amazing, like, mind control person where I can reach out to you through the internet and control your minds, okay?
Sup, Nugs? How are
And
you?
force you to do things against your will. Specifically disabled people, too. Somehow I magically know if you watching are disabled or not. And I'm targeting specifically just the disabled people.
No, he doesn't understand that, like, and I think I listened to TBS yesterday while I was kind of just doing chores around the house. Household operations like cleaning, cooking, paying the bills and stuff like that. And I think it's Steve and PWAP both mentioned that DSP has from the very first day he took, say, contributions on Twitch, I'd be willing to say, he has filtered out all but the people who believe him. And at this point, to believe in DSP in 2024, like, and I say this as a disabled person because I am a disabled person and I grew up as a disabled kid. What I say is I am less disabled than I used to be, but he has filtered out everybody except the ones that are true believers. And I say true believers because there has to be something wrong with you to be a true believer in DSP. You have to be deficient or challenged in some way. And I love Jade. Jade is probably my favorite person in his chat. Jade hits for me in a very specific way. I think Jade is cool and funny in his own weird, quirky way. But there has to be something wrong with you if you are riding with DSP in 2024 the way that he speaks to his audience. And also, I subscribe to the Snood theory, which is Jade is a low-key troll most of the time. Like, I think Jade likes DSP, and I think Jade enjoys the content. But I also think Jade gets away with a little bit of troll shit. Like, I swear I've seen Jade say "money, money, yeah, yeah" in Phil's chat, like the Pixar song. After Phil's gotten contributions, like Jade knows. Jade dips into some troll shit on occasion.
Does this sound like any logical statement to any
human?
Yeah,
you do have to have something wrong with you. And like, I was a sped kid growing up. I'm not intellectually challenged. For me, the disabilities are more like physical and like neurological. But I would end up getting grouped in school with a lot of people that had like autism and stuff, and people with social challenges, people with intellectual disabilities, they tend to trust you. They tend to believe what you say, even at their own detriment, because they do not have the same level of jaded cynicism that people like you and I do. They tend to trust people because they would say, "Oh, everyone has my best interest in mind," and that's just not true. That's just not true. Devilish Face says, "Honestly, I feel like he's here to talk to weirdos in the chat more than Dave." Yeah, I think Jade is there for the chat, and I actually think that DSP's chat is like kind of a good place for Jade, because if you look at the way people interact with Jade in chat, they like him. Like, Jade is the only person in chat that the chat objectively likes. Like, I don't see anybody that has a problem with Jade. I think most people think that Jade is fucking cool, and I think on a personal level, Jade would probably be an okay dude.
Would make, or does this sound like a bunch of drama bullshit by someone?
Again, I derailed off on a tangent, but I think the thing is that Phil, yeah, he has not sought out to scam disabled people or take money from disabled people, but his narcissism over time, on a long enough timeline, has a knock-on effect of weeding out all but the most retarded, all but the most naive, all but the most challenged people who have to believe in him, because he either berates or bans anybody that doesn't, which leaves only the tards that believe in him left. So he has selected a very specific audience, a lot of them being deranged or disabled. even if you look at someone like Iron Chef Sakai, if you listen to that stream, there is something wrong with that dude. And if anybody needs a copy of the Iron Chef Sakai audio, I have it. It's not up anymore. If anybody would like to listen to it, hit me up. I grabbed it, but Iron Chef Sakai, like, there is something wrong with, like, there is something mentally and emotionally wrong with that dude. Absolutely. Like, if you listen to him speak, he's not all there.
He's desperate. Phil has the pignosis. He mind and brainwashes his viewers into contributing.
I hope you guys are enjoying again. This is more of a chill stream.
It's not like Phil thinks that Phil is talking about like hypnosis or like the power of suggestion, but that's not how psychology works necessarily. Like, I grew up in a church. Well, some of you guys know this if you've been around on the channel for a long time. When I was doing some Pastor Eric deep dives back when Pastor Eric Miller was posting content, one of the things that I centered on was I grew up in an evangelical mega church that was very cult adjacent. And the thing is, a lot of the things with cult-like mentalities and cult-like behaviors, it's not direct pressure. It is very indirect or passive social pressure among the group or among the among the congregation in the case of a church. So DSP would say things, even the way he says, if you like my setup, if you like the way I've improved, if you like my content, if you like what I do, this, that, and the third, him saying, if you believe in the things you see here, please tip. If you don't, leave. Because he has literally said, if you don't like it, leave. Which is exactly what fire and brimstone preachers say, is that, like, if you don't believe in the word, if you don't believe in the Lord, if you don't believe in what I have to say, there are other places you can go, please leave, which is exactly what Phil does. So it's not necessarily like an active act of pignosis or like the power of suggestion. It's wearing people down over time. It's like if you've ever been in a church where the preacher passes around the offering plate multiple times. There are people who may not have given the first time the offering plate went around, but they may give when the second offering plate goes around, and people may give twice, which is exactly what Phil does. The thing is, we know begging works, which is why Phil does it. So it's not some kind of active power of suggestion or like active hypnosis. He's really, like, at a base level just wearing people down. That's really all it is. That's really,
it's
really
your turn, bro.
Thank you, more Rudy, for the sub. I appreciate you. Thank you.
If you guys talk with me and interact with me, it'd be better than if you just let me focus on the game. I'm willing to hang out with you all, but please, let's chill, shall we? While I play the game.
Oh, I know why.
Now,
I
please
couldn't
support
hear
the stream.
Earlier. I got it. I fixed it. I
38
fixed
bucks to
OBS.
support. That is pretty far from the 150 goal. And yesterday we did not hit any goals. So today it would be great if we could hit one.
See, this is it. Like, literally, this is the preacher saying, well, I guess the church isn't going to get a new roof. I guess the church isn't going to get a new roof unless you fuckers put some money in the offering plate. Like, I've been there. I've been there as a child.
Please support if you can. Anything appreciated, okay? I'm not going to keep repeating myself, but I am going to mention it from time to time. I would like to hit some goals today, okay?
Oh my God, he's drinking wheelchair donations.
Speaking of, I'm going to drink some ice.
Hey guys, instead of over on Kick, all chanting and begging that Jinx supports the stream today, how about some of you do? Instead of just sitting there and asking others to contribute, how about you do it and put the money where your mouth is instead of doing that, or else you probably should just not say anything. You know what I'm saying?
But why? Like, why? If your stream runs on whales, why would anyone want to contribute themselves? If you know there's a whale that's gonna contribute, you might as well ask them. It's like if you've ever had the like a really rich friend in college. Like I worked with a lady in college. All right, we're coming back. We're coming back? Question mark. Yeah, my internet has been up and down this morning, but I think there is construction going on about 100 meters that way, and I think they're running new internet lines because I'm in a new development. This is a new housing development. So I think my internet's going to be up and down for a bit, but it'll go away for a few seconds and then it'll come back because the ISP guys were here earlier and they were, I think, running cables under the road. So such is life. Such is life.
If Jinx is going to support the
I'm
stream,
keeping
he will.
an eye
If
on
he
it,
doesn't,
though.
he doesn't. It's his call to do what he wants with his own money. It's not your call to be like saying shit like that.
I do not have fiber, but I do have gigabit internet. Oh yeah, Willie Steve's video it's amazing. And I was DMing with Len about the Willie Steve video specifically. And the one thing I like about the Willie Steve video is that it doesn't come at Phil with like anger necessarily. It's more of like a question of like, what the fuck? Why does he do this? Like, why does he do this? And he knows he does this. Like, I also appreciate the idea that Steve brings up the fact that like he knows, he understands the way he does this, and he knows, and it's bad, and he knows why it's bad.
And then not doing anything yourself.
I took anger management classes. It wasn't actually a joke. That's why I haven't been negative. This is the last part of this stream, okay? About another, like I said,
begging
we're going to do
streams.
45 minutes to an hour of gameplay, and then I'm doing DSP Tries It. Please support the stream. Thank you to Vitus who's supporting right now.
Fair
Really
hands.
appreciate you. Yesterday was a very slow day.
Fair hands up.
Today, obviously, I wanted things to pick up, but I am playing Indiana Jones, which I know is not necessarily the viewer favorite right now.
All right, this is all I wanted to go in this clip, but also one thing I want to point out is that like the following stream will be punished for a slow stream. Have you guys noticed that? Which is like the biggest downer, right? Like if the morning stream is slow or yesterday's night stream is slow, the next stream will be punished for the sins of the previous stream, which is the worst way to run your streams, to be honest, because it alienates new people. Absolutely. Like I don't know. I barely talk about prior streams unless they're relevant to the conversation or something I like came out. Like, well, most of you guys here watch Detractor Beam. There's a lot of overlap between Takin Ls and Detractor Beam. Similar style vibes. They had a live stream last night where Indrid and Snood were in the same fucking room, and it was really fucking fun to watch. So go watch that if you haven't. Snood revealed his face, and I gotta say, I'll buy it. Snood is a cool motherfucker. Fort Worth Raid says, instead of being offended by the fact that mentally stunted people gravitated towards him, he could make his content centered around that. I mean, he could. There are ways to spin that. I mean, I wouldn't, because it would still come off as predatory. But there are ways to spin that. You could be like, oh, I'm a safe place to go for these people. It's kind of like the ally slide he would always throw up. You know what I mean? Like he's like, oh, this is a safe place for you. I love you. You're welcome here. Snood doesn't look like how I imagined either. I imagined Snood as like a tall, thin, wiry guy with like thick glasses and like a Mandark haircut from Dexter's Lab. I think I basically imagined Mandark as Snood when I was picturing Snood in my head. But yeah, Snood, not how I pictured him, but also like if you look at him, you're like, huh, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, in the high. in the
He looked
hot
exactly
seat.
like you thought he was,
And
like he
Atlas.
would. Yeah.
Goes by the name of Atlas the Bookkeeper. How you feeling, my friend?
Here's the funny part, because if you guys haven't
Wait,
noticed,
what clip are we even watching? I didn't even. Demanding unhappy viewers become whales. Yeah, that's right. This was a truly unhinged moment. You ready?
this morning, and this has also been going around. It's all Detractor shit. If
Yeah,
people
very
think I'm dumb or
Canadian.
something. So
Very
here's the
Canadian.
new thing. Well, Phil, you're a bunch of whales, and these whales come by every day and they support you. So you should just let them dictate everything you do, because then obviously you'll stay in business, right?
Yes.
And here's the funny part about
Actually, yes, though. That's actually like a good, if he wants to make the money, because you have two ways on the internet of making decent money. You appeal to a wide audience, or you carve out a dedicated audience and you do what they want you to do. Those are basically your two options, your two ways forward on the internet. DSP is never going to make it via mass appeal. He had mass appeal back when people sucked. I think people have grown up, and people over time have gotten more discerning when it comes to their slop. But that being said, the fact that most of the internet is slop and Phil's slop still can't make it really says something, because the majority of what we watch on YouTube is slop. This stream included, to be honest. Like, I'm not gonna dodge responsibility for being a slop maker. Like, I absolutely am a massive slop maker. I make slop daily on both my channels, you know? But the fact that DSP's slop is not enough really says something. Yes, I agree. Dude, Snood has a very expressive face that just makes you want to smile and laugh. I was having the same vibe. Usually I listen to I rarely watch Detractor Beam live, to be honest, because I don't like to listen to a lot of, I don't like to watch a lot of stuff on Saturdays. I like to just kind of have that family time. But Detractor Beam going like live IRL, I was like, yeah, I gotta watch this, and it was so much fucking fun to watch Snood and watch him and Indrid play off each other. To be honest, they had a good IRL dynamic. It was cool. It was neat.
If you have an issue with people who like my content and come by and support it, all right. Number one, I know you're jealous. It's just this the truth. You're jealous.
No, I'm not jealous. I'm not jealous. I could have a $0 stream. I could have a $9 stream. I could have a $200 stream. And all of those have happened, by the way, and I don't care. I behave the same way whether I'm streaming to one person or, 300. It doesn't matter. I put out what I want to put out. I present the things I want to present, and then I get out. It's very simple.
This motherfucker who wishes that you had someone who liked you and your content and would actually come support you. That's the only reason you have an issue with someone coming by and being a big supporter of my content.
So, Majestic Toaster, he was the origin of YouTube slop. Nice Void Kitty, by the way. I have a black cat myself. She's fantastic. I love black cats. Yeah, DSP is the originator of the slop he hates, which there's a very fun irony in that. Like, we would not, a couple weeks ago when DSP was saying YouTube would be very different without me, I agree that YouTube would be very different without him. I think he and maybe a couple of others are the reason why the algorithm functions the way it does, because it prioritizes engagement and in some cases effort, versus back when he started, the algorithm prioritized frequency of posts. So it would reward you for posting 100 videos a day, because there were days where he would post 200 videos. Like, if you go back and you look at some of those vacation vlogs, there were 200 uploads a day in some cases, and it was incredible. It was nuts.
Content. That's number one. Okay. Number two.
Yeah, YouTube does make money off him, and YouTube hates him. Like, the thing is, like, YouTube needs people like Phil, is the weird irony of it all. But the thing is, more people have a piece of that pie. Back when Phil started, Phil was one of the only people back in his day making a living on YouTube. There weren't many people outside of like the mommy vloggers making a living on YouTube. Like, the first people that I remember making a living off of YouTube besides Phil were probably Shane Dawson, Monster and a Freak, fuck that guy, and the Shaytards. It was like Shane Dawson and the Shaytards were like the first two people besides Phil that I knew were making massive money off of YouTube. There really weren't a lot of people monetizing and making it to that degree. It was rare, but now it's very easy to become a monetized creator. Like, if I can do it on 2 channels and Lefty can do it on 2 channels, it's not that hard. It's really not that hard.
Then if that's the case, then why don't you contribute too? Think about this, right? If the issue is that there's a bunch of people who come by every day and they support, but it's only a small group of people, well, then don't you think that if others supported, then it would negate that? instead of sitting around and whining and complaining and saying, oh, I'm so upset that just a small group of people support Phil, then if you came by every day and you said, well, I'd like you to do something different than what you're doing, and here's $5, to show you that there's effort towards that we would actually
wouldn't listen. I'm gonna take some DSP logic here. Wouldn't Detractor money be blood money? Think about it. He didn't want to take Keemstar's $50,000 because he thought it was blood money. He said Keemstar was a misery broker. He said he never wanted to be dependent on that guy. He never wanted to be under his thumb. This, that, and the third. Wouldn't sincerely taking Detractor money for feedback be blood money by that very same logic? Wouldn't you then be financially dependent on detractors? I mean, he's already dependent on detractors for ideas. If you think about it, most of the improvements in quotes that he's done have been detractor ideas. He's just done them in a very dented way. I've told him I have not told him. I'm acting like I'm talking directly to Phil. I'm not. I have mentioned for years that he should change his microphone setup. I have mentioned for years that he needs to change his sound baffling. I have mentioned for years about camera placement. I have mentioned for years about background removers. And he's doing all that shit. But the thing is, he can't even take our ideas and our suggestions and do them correctly. That shows how badly he does this. Because this is pretty easy. Like I'm going to do the Phil point. I have a green screen now. I bought a green screen and softbox lighting because I wanted to light myself properly and I wanted to have a good working green screen. Because to be honest, Phil looks like a fucking retard with that background remover, and I didn't want to use background removers anymore because I kept thinking to myself as I was watching Phil in his little high chair doing the zombie hands. I kept thinking to myself, do I look that retarded? I got to step up my game. So I'm going to invest a little bit of money, get a fucking green screen,
support other things than just the things that your whales come by to support, right? Then maybe
Wesley H, excellent point. He takes troll tips all the fucking time. On a given day, he might get like $50 worth of troll tips in some cases. There have been days where he has said, oh, it's a troll, it's a moron, like, 10, 12 times. And if those are all $2 or $3 tips, before you know it, you've got $40 or $50, So there's an argument to be made that he takes troll money all the time. And worse than that, he doesn't include it. Half the time he doesn't even include it in the count. He'll just say, oh, it's a troll tip. I don't have to acknowledge it. Which means that he's actually doing slightly better than people think he is in terms of his like daily financials, which is why you should never fucking troll tip, by the way. Never fucking troll tip. That's the worst idea. I will always laugh at you and shame you if you troll tip in 2024.
It would change that. But instead, people just sit around whining. Like these people for this.
That's literally you when talking about any game studio, any corporation, anything you buy. Anything you buy. You called the Gator Corporation, the company that made your mic arm, you called them nerds. Oh, are we getting Fs again? I'm getting Fs in chat. It's good on my side. I'm gonna keep going.
Nothing has a point. There's no point. Even if I have 5,000 people today who give me $1,
we dropped a few
or
frames.
If one person gave me $5,000, it doesn't matter. You understand that? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how we get there. It's that you get there. And then what content you put out in the meantime. Is it fun? Is it entertaining? Is it positive? Right? That's what matters. As long as I'm working and putting out good content.
Oh, thank you for the membership, Nugs Medallion. I appreciate you.
And I got people coming by and supporting me. I don't care how we get there. Now, if you have an issue with the way that we got there, then change it.
Except you do. Like, he does care how he gets there, though. Like, he 100% does. He 100% does. There have been days recently, and like I can't think of a specific example, but there have been days recently where he said, now guys, I don't want it to only be kick. Like a good example is how he splits things between different services. He will say, oh, we've gotten good contributions on the YouTube side and the tip side, but where's the kick support? Bro, that is you caring where your money comes from. That is literally you caring where your money comes from. So don't tell me you're not picky.
You change it, not me. I can't change it. I can't make people.
Also, like telling people who make fun of you to give you money kind of speaks to the reason why he lets Ashton dunk on him so hard and still does a wrestling show with him, because DSP is absolutely willing to be cucked if he sees dollar signs. We know this. Yeah, Nug says just the other day he cried about hitting his goal, but there was zero support on Kick. Then he started begging them. Yeah, exactly. He wants all the numbers to go up all the time. He never wants it to fucking stop.
Come to my stream and contribute. As crazy as this sounds.
Prayer hands.
All right? Because some
By the
people actually think that I am some kind of like a crazy mind-washing cult leader. I don't brainwash people to contribute to me. That's never happened. Okay?
No, you don't. Like, I will say, like, one, he doesn't do this because he's not smart enough. He's not smart enough to actively manipulate people. But what he doesn't understand is that the way he conducts and carries himself has the knock-on effect of wearing people down and getting people to donate and getting people to contribute. It is technically manipulation, but I wouldn't call it active. You know what I mean? Like, narcissists can wear you down. Even like I worked at a summer school for people with Down syndrome and autism, and the thing is, people with Down syndrome, like, they're technically retarded, and I'm using the word retard the correct way because that means sub 70 IQ, right? They're technically they technically are classified as having mental retardation. However, they know how to push your buttons and they know how to pull your strings emotionally to try and get you to do something for them. Try and get you to not make them do that worksheet or not make them, turn in the assignment or whatever. They understand what buttons to press, even if they're not quite smart enough to make a thought out plan for it. That's what Phil does. Phil is not smart enough to pull a massive con to try and manipulate people, but he's smart enough to know that begging works. You know what I mean? Like, he knows it works, because if it didn't, he wouldn't do it. It's the same philosophy behind him wanting to play certain games. You know what I mean? Because he's constantly saying, like, oh, I could play this game, but this game has to work. It has to get support. He will always do what he thinks gets support. So again, he's smart enough to understand what he thinks works for him and what he thinks doesn't. But I don't think he's smart enough for brainwashing. Excuse me. Das Carrot says, But Phil is super smart. He's Mensa material. He told us himself. He never lies. Yeah, dude. Phil being a Mensa scholar would be really funny.
Ever. People come and contribute because they like the content. Because they like
Yeah, and also, if Phil's a Mensa scholar, wouldn't he? I think he'd think it'd be very cool that Snoop Dogg is also in Mensa. By the way, wouldn't I would love like LARPers to be like, hey, Phil, you once mentioned that you're a Mensa scholar. How does it feel to be in the same category as Snoop Dogg? And just see how he reacts. I would love his takes on Snoop Dogg, because Snoop Dogg is like everything Phil hates. Snoop Dogg is very flagrantly into women. Snoop Dogg is a rapper. Snoop Dogg is black. Snoop Dogg is smart. Everything Phil hates. Just pushes buttons, man.
Me. That's why they're
urban.
Here to support.
He's urban. But if you look at Snoop Dogg and like his life, he's had a cool fucking life, and he's an interesting dude. Even outside of his music, I had a friend that was really into collecting 80s and 90s rap records. And he had a bunch of Snoop Dogg records that I was helping him. I was helping my friend convert a bunch of vinyl records that he had to WAV files one time. And that's when I got into listening to like some old Snoop Dogg shit, and it's really cool.
If it's 5 people today who majorly contribute and I hit my goals, or if it's 50 people today who contribute and I hit my goals,
oh,
I still hit my
Mensa
goal.
takes anyone that pays an annual fee? I thought you actually had to be smart to be in there, though. I thought you like actually had to pass a test and stuff. I trust you, Frog Machine. You're smart. Speaking of scholars.
I can't make a certain person show up and contribute or not contribute. So the fact that anyone tries to hold that against me as
that's
a
right.
fact of like,
Snoop
you're failing or
weed,
you're doing
which
well,
Phil doesn't like.
none of that makes any sense.
Also, though, he's technically a competitor to DSP because there was that time where Snoop Dogg left his stream on overnight for like 9 hours, and he was still getting like thousands and he got like tens of thousands of dollars for streaming a fucking empty room overnight, which is something that Phil could never do. Imagine, Phil wishes he could do that. Phil wishes he could just stream an empty fucking room like Snoop Dogg did.
You're a moron. And no one should have issue with that either. Who cares? Who's contributing, who's not contributing? How does this have anything to do with me or anyone?
He got his rap voice by imitating Snagglepuss. You know, that makes sense, actually. That makes sense.
It doesn't. And why is it your business? You know, would anyone who's a successful streamer, does everyone go and look at all of their finances to see who specifically contributed what and how many? No, only me.
You should because the majority of your daily income is predicated on maybe 5 to 8 people. So you should think critically about who contributes and when. Because really, like, if one person has a significant medical emergency, that's going to change the face of Phil's content. Like, this was about 5 minutes before the Kino arc, but if you think about it, does anybody remember the time when 1 Minute Man walked out? When 1 Minute Man left? DSP was so happy to get $50 a day, 6 days a week for years. And do you guys remember how like distraught he was for that couple of months after 1 Minute Man walked away and before Kino Casino? It was really weird. It's like Phil didn't know what to do because he could always count on that $50 around the same time of day every single day for years. So you know that if you had an exodus of one or more massive whales, we'd get that again. And it'd be very interesting to watch.
Because again, hyper-focused, over-obsessed people, no lives,
25.
no jobs.
Okay, it was 25. Thank you, Only Ice Bleach. But still, $25 a day, you know, times 6, that is significant money, you know? That's $300 a week. $300 a week is significant. $300 a week is if I could have an extra $300 a week, sight unseen, that's life-changing money. Life-changing money for most people, to be honest. I could think of a lot I could do with an extra $300 a week.
No anything going for them, just sitting around on the internet being toxic all day. Okay? It's fucked up. And I have to deal with that every day. So it's the funny part. Like, if you have an issue, well, man, the same 5 people come and support Phil every day. Then why aren't you? If you like the content, why don't you support content you want?
Yeah, Frog Machine, that's kind of that's been my thought exactly. We would have gotten a much more severe downward spiral had the Kino arc not happened. The most interesting thing might actually be a world where he didn't link up with Kino Casino in July and August, and he didn't have the quote unquote resurgence or the King arc. Like, as funny as it has been to see him get something that looks like success, at least according to him, I think the downward spiral would have been way more interesting, even as like a psychological case study, because he was really spiraling. Like, before Kino got their hands on him, those were the days where he was saying, you know what, guys, $50 a stream. $50 a stream is all I need. It's all I want. And no drama. $50 a stream. Imagine a world where that continued. And imagine where he'd be now psychologically if he didn't get the success. Granted, I think I think in 3 or 4 more months, the crash, the post Kino crash is going to be glorious to behold.
Let's see. Say, hey, Phil, I would love and I would support this other game you're not playing right now. Please consider it.
It's your turn, bro.
And then maybe
Thank
other people
you,
would say,
Comrade
wait, that's
Jasper.
true. I want
Thank
that
you.
too. And then we could
Thank
do
you for
other
the
stuff.
sub.
Right? But I mean, again, it's called business. I am not a big time dude. I don't get hundreds of thousands of views a day.
Yeah, like the thing is, like, and Jay Gwinnell, you're raising a good point. He was on a downward trend financially through early July. Year over year, he was down, and year over year, he's still down. By the way, like year over year, even despite his bump that he's gotten the last, let's say, 6 months from Kino or so, because it's been almost, it'll be 6 months once we get into like February or March, which is wild to think about. But even accounting for the small boost he's gotten over the last 6 months, year over year, his finances are still way down, and his views and engagement are still way down.
I don't get 1,000 viewers on stream a day. I don't have the ability to just do whatever I want and the flexibility to do whatever I want. I have to play what people want. So people will support.
I like watching offensive style Phil. I've had conversations with Len about this. Phil is at his most funny when he is belligerent and indignant. That is when he is most funny. Like the Ubisoft copyright saga back in 2010 or 2011, whenever that was, when he was screaming about Steve Jones. That is one of the funniest things I've ever seen, and it's one of my favorite DSP rants when he's just going, Steve Jones, and it's really funny.
That's called business. I'm a small business owner. Do you get it? I'm not a ginormous million sub YouTuber who went viral. I'm a small time dude, and I'm happy with that. But that's very different, and I'm tired of these morons who think that they know everything, who know nothing, or because if they knew anything, they'd be successful YouTubers, and they're not. So instead, they just sit there and they're miserable.
Here, we're gonna field trip for a minute. This is I think I've shown this video on stream before, but I really like this song. I think it's funny.
Steve Jones, lick my fucking balls.
Here we go. I love this so much. I like the Bluetooth headset too. The Bluetooth headset's very special.
Steve Jones!
So fucking good.
Steve Jones! Steve Jones! Who is Steve Jones? Copyright problems with Dark
Incredible.
Copyright problems with Dark Side Bill. Shut down on YouTube. Who the hell put this notice up? Shut down on YouTube. Who the hell put this notice up?
You get the idea. If I can find the original rant, we'll watch that. But it's very special.
That someone will come by and support.
I'm gonna keep
it, right?
looking. I'm gonna keep
So
looking
anyway,
for the original.
Can we get
rant.
back on topic now instead of listening to morons? That'd be great. This I completely understand. I can't contribute publicly because your detractors spam my old YouTube channel, and so I had to delete it. Yeah, and I'm sorry to say this is the problem with being mass harassed and stuff like that. Like, it's funny because people say to me, well, Phil, the reason that that you're not a big YouTuber is because you don't just play whatever you want. Well, I can't play whatever I want because then I don't get support, right? I have to play what people want. Oh, well, then, you should just become mainstream popular and then you can play whatever you want. What?
He has it backwards. You need to give people a reason to show up. If you want to make it on YouTube, one, you have to measure your own success. So I don't fault Phil for measuring his own success. Like, I get it. You have to understand what helps you sleep at night in terms of your YouTube channel. But like, he does have it backwards because he's not giving people a reason to show up. Instead, he's asking people to show up. And that's not how the internet works. You don't ask people to show up. Like, you can tell people about a stream, but like, when do you ever hear a detractor stream being like, oh, so-and-so is streaming, I really hope you show up. Speaking of which, I just thought of something. Misery Merchant is going to start streaming. That's right. Misery Merchant, two of my favorite people to hang out with in the Vortex. They're going to start streaming. They're going to stream on Monday on the Misery Merchant channel after the podcast. Get ready. If you haven't subbed to Misery Merchant, please sub. I will pin their link in the chat.
What are you even talking about? How could I ever become mainstream popular? There's literally a group of people.
But notice, I'm not telling you guys to show up. I'm just saying, like, hey, there's this thing you guys might like because we featured Misery Merchant in a lot of the content over here, so you guys will probably like them.
Who are so unhinged, who are so antisocial, they are sociopaths, that if someone just happens to find me in my content, a newcomer, and they come to the channel and they say, hey, I want to hang out for a few days, and they do, these people then stalk them. They go to their social media. They go to their YouTube page. They go to everything. They leave nasty comments.
How is that stalking though? How is that stalking though? That's just being like internet literate. If we hear a name in your chat, we're not supposed to search public socials. They're public socials, dude. Like whatever. If people listen on the internet, if you're into weird shit, and you could be into weird shit, it's the internet. But if you're into weird shit and you don't want it to be seen, that's on you. Hide it. Don't be horny on main. Don't be horny on main. Hide it, Darziak. Come on. That's not our fault. It's not our fault if it's publicly posted.
Fucking do everything they can to harass them. Does that have anything to do with me? No. It has to do with a bunch of...
And I don't think anybody harassed Darziak, by the way. A lot of people just had fun on stream looking at his yes, no, and maybe list. That's not harassment. That's just taking something that's posted and having fun with it. Because I think certain people should be shamed. And Darziak being one of them. You know? I think anybody that's into dragons and inflation and inflating dragons, maybe they should be shamed. Because maybe that is weird behavior. It's the internet, dude. I don't know.
That's crazy people. And so you should just become more popular. How would I do that exactly? When anyone who's new even shows up and shows a tiny piece of positivity, they get harassed by crazy people. So how could I do anything to fix that situation exactly? You have to understand, it doesn't matter how much I change for the better. It doesn't matter, how much, I listen to feedback. It's never good enough for crazy people. You get it? Like, let's look at me now compared to a few years ago.
I don't think that's true. I think the attitude of it's never going to be good enough for crazy people is just a permission structure for him to be mid his whole life. Because honestly, like does anybody remember there was a time like after the bank leaks where people kind of just left him. It was either after the bank leaks or something, but there was like a year or so period where people just kind of left him alone. Like people just kind of pieced out for a while. If you either make your content better or you become too boring to mine, people will leave you alone. It's just how the internet works. Like a lot of lol cows become kind of irrelevant because they're just not fun to watch anymore. Like Wings is a great example of that. Like I'm not saying that people have left Wings entirely alone because Wings is always going to have his trolls, but like you don't hear people talking about Wings because Wings is boring. Like if Phil's content got better or if he got more boring to mine as a lol cow, people would leave him alone.
Years ago where my setup sucked, I was constantly complaining that I was broke and all this kind of shit. Now, everything's different, okay? But it's still not good enough. I'm still a bad person. I'm still doing the wrong things. I'm still e-begging. I'm still rage quitting. The bar will never stop being moved, all right? So...
Also, I'd like to point out, Phil is the one who exposes a lot of his information to the world. I think Meth Bear brought it up when because I had Meth Bear on stream after Meth Bear found Cat's restraining order, and Meth Bear and I went over it on stream. Meth Bear mentioned something to the effect of, I never would have known to even look for a restraining order or where to look for a restraining order had Phil not mentioned it on the side scrollers. So because Phil was trying to use his wife as a chip against the trolls, we actually got more content relating to DSP and his family. And again, Meth Bear did so through perfectly legal channels. No ops here. I wouldn't platform someone who did an op, but DSP has a way of exposing his greatest supporters and his family too. Because really, if DSP didn't glaze his big supporters so much, we wouldn't Google them and we wouldn't look at their socials. But if he's stroking Iron Chef Sakai every time he gifts 50 Kick memberships, then yeah, we're gonna Google Iron Chef Sakai, we're gonna look at socials, and we're gonna see what we can find. If he was quieter about the people who contributed to him, we'd have less to go on.
This is pretty messed up that there's people who just want to come by and discover me and be like, oh, this is good stuff, let's hang out. And then it gets ruined by these mentally ill people. But that's the point I'm making. What it is with these people is they've created a vicious cycle. They realize that if they sit around and create toxicity around me, then the content gets made. They make money.
No, Phil has never understood that, like, Phil is the storm of toxicity. You know what I mean? Like, he is the storm. There would be no detracting if Phil wasn't toxic. If Phil was just a fucking internet normie, we'd leave him alone. That's why, like, Nerd Brew. I mentioned this on my Nerd Brew. If you're still here, I mentioned this on my Death Stranding stream yesterday. I stream Death Stranding on Logan K on occasion every few days. It's very, very fun. I'm playing on the highest difficulty. It's both frustrating and rewarding at the same time. But we were talking about Jake James Lugo in the chat, and I think one of the reasons why Jake James Lugo doesn't really have trolls outside of Nerd Brew, I guess. But one of the reasons why JJL doesn't have a lot of trolls is because he's just boring. He's just kind of milquetoast and boring. There's nothing to grab onto. His content isn't really special. It doesn't stand out. And he's not memeable enough outside of his selfies, really. And there's not much you can do with those. DSP constantly feeds trolls, and he constantly gives us more to use. And it doesn't help the fact that we basically have a voice font library of DSP of a decade plus of him just talking about everything. That's why we have very convincing voice AI models of him that we can make him say and do anything. It's fantastic.
Then I can't become a bigger content creator.
That's probably true, Jay. And an AI version of JJL would be more relatable than actual JJL. JJL is one of those people where you look at him and you think he's some kind of Mark Zuckerberg style robot.
Because anyone who comes by to hang out with me and enjoy my stuff gets harassed by people on the internet because there's a ton of...
Yes, Frog Machine. That's a good way to put it. One of the things that I always say about Jake James Lugo is you can tell he cares about the things he makes. He just doesn't have anything very interesting to say. I think it's his main problem. There's no hook to Lugo. Even though Lugo is passionate about Star Wars and like whatever other stuff he posts about, there's no real hook to it. There's no sauce. It's just a dude talking about Star Wars. And there's a million people on the internet that talk about Star Wars and video games. And he's done very little to stand out.
Content out there that says I'm a bad person, even though it's all slanderous and defamatory and false, doesn't matter because it's a vicious cycle. As long as they keep making me look like a horrible person, they make money, they get popularity, and then more people believe it, and then more people harass my viewers and fans, and the cycle continues.
So if it's a cycle that you understand, why not break it? The way he laid it out seems as though he understands the cycle, and if you can understand a sort of self-perpetuating cycle like that, you can find a way to break it, you know?
It's pretty fucked up.
I don't think Phil has shat on JJL before. He's been in Phil's content. Like, JJL has been in Phil's content, and Phil has been in JJL's content. If you ever listen to Ask the King and you hear him read questions by a guy called Venomous Fat Man, that's JJL. Like, they've crossed over before. And Phil seems to like him because JJL glazes Phil. JJL, in a lot of ways, kind of idolizes Phil, or at least he did for a time.
Yeah, Yeah, and I see now people are talking about it in chat. You know, relative newcomers, people who the last few months have been very supportive.
Lugo turned on Phil after the 2020 interview, after the quartering, right? That would have been Jeremy from the quartering, if my timeline's right. Yeah, JJL did interview Phil. I know ALT has played a lot of that stuff on WPIG. It's a fun interview because a lot of it is just JJL saying, Phil, what makes you so great? Like, he's not literally saying what makes you so great, but like a lot of it is, Phil, why are you so cool? Tell me why you're so cool. Like, Phil loves that shit. It's really funny.
They've all been harassed. It's like, so what did I do to deserve that? What did they do to deserve that? We didn't do anything. We sit here in our lane, hanging out, having a good time, and not bothering anyone, right? Keemstar said it himself. You know, talking about review tech and how crazy obsessed he is with me and stuff, right? And he said it his best. He's like, listen, you don't have to love DSP or whatever, but he doesn't bother anyone. So why would you ever care? Why would you harass him? Why would you make fun of him? No one, you know, he doesn't do nothing. He just sits around and makes his content for his audience.
I would agree that to the average person that Phil is boring. Like, I understand what Keemstar was saying. Keemstar was basically like, you're too boring to shit post on Phil. Like, which for a guy like Keemstar, who's pretty extreme, Phil is fucking boring. You know? But you can make your own fun with him. He is the content catalyst, as Shinko says all the time.
So why would you even bother with the guy? Why would you be obsessed with him? He's right. Keemstar is right. There's no reason for anyone to care except those who like my content. That's it.
Yeah.
If you don't like me and my content,
the thing is, like, Keem saying, "Oh well, Phil, you're not bad enough for people to shit post on, so they're all stupid." That's literally Keem just trying to get him on LolCal Live. Like, Phil fundamentally doesn't understand when people are trying to manipulate him, and PPP is. And I hate PPP, like, for the record, can't stand the guy. I think PPP is worse than Phil. But PPP is expertly manipulating Phil in a way that Phil, like, the best trick PPP ever pulled was to call Phil's wife a fat bitch and call Phil a bum and a scammer and have DSP not acknowledge it. DSP laughed at him for it. That's how cocked DSP is. So there's nothing that PPP can say that will ever make Phil turn on him. The only way I see Kino ending is the Kino dents turning on Phil, and then they start trolling him, which that remains to be seen. We'll see how that shakes out.
Content. I'm not harming anyone. I'm not going out of my way to hurt people.
Equal opportunity,
I'm not
razzers.
recruiting
That's
armies
right.
of children and
That's
corrupting
right, Mr.
them.
Roxas.
So what is your problem with me?
DSP is like that kid in school who there are kids, at least where I grew up in school, there were kids who got picked on a lot, and it really wasn't that hard for bullies to manipulate them, because a lot of times the bully would go up to the kid and be like, yeah, you're my friend, right? And then the bully would go make fun of that same kid and be like, oh no, but Ashton says he's my friend. You know what I mean? When someone like Phil is aching so badly for acceptance, all you have to do in his case, all they ever had to do was call him king and say that they were friends. And now nothing that PPP or Worski can do will ever be enough for Phil to turn on them. That's all it was. He's like that weak kid in school that befriends his bullies. It's very pathetic, actually. And to be honest, I've been on both sides of those situations in school. I grew up as a disabled kid. Sometimes you do have to kind of become friends with your bullies to survive. Like, I get it. But it's something that you outgrow. It's something that you outgrow when you develop self-confidence and self-esteem as an adult. And Phil has to be one of the least confident adults I've ever seen.
Yeah, listen, Copeem says, imagine tracking someone down at their place of business and yelling at them because earlier in the day they bought a ham sandwich somewhere. Who cares? You're right. You're absolutely right. Like, think of it this way.
What did he say? That's a dumb analogy.
Someone down at their place of business and yelling at them. Copium says, imagine tracking someone
That was Copium, by the way. Copium is a troll,
down at their place of business and yelling
or at the very least, a LARPer.
at them because
Copium's been in this chat. Copium is in this chat all the time.
earlier in the day they bought a ham sandwich somewhere. Who cares? You're right. You're absolutely right. Like, think of it this way. Actually, this would probably be a real life example. Let's say for some reason you're very anti-Christian. This is just a hypothetical. Let's say
But DSP, you're fun to make fun of. Like, right? Isn't that the fundamental thing with DSP? Is that he's fun to make fun of. He's fun to analyze. He's fun to make videos about. DSP cannot make interesting content about himself, but we can. That's the thing. You can watch a 9-hour Steve of the Dead video about DSP. You can watch an ALT stream. You can listen to a GTG TED Talk on DSP, and it'll be very robust and interesting. But DSP, with his own content, he doesn't know why he's funny. And this is something that Len says to me all the time. DSP is funny, but he's never understood why he's funny, and he's never been willing to accept that he is funny only ironically, never unironically.
very anti-Christian. So you sit outside of the local Chick-fil-A because you know that Chick-fil-A is owned by
he's
Christians.
A starving fish in the pond. He takes
you
all
watch
the bait.
someone buy a
that's
chicken
good way to
sandwich.
put it.
You watch them eat the chicken sandwich and enjoy it. And then you follow them home. And outside of their house, you start a protest and say, down with this person, they ate the Christian chicken sandwich. Or you go to their place of work.
No, it's actually more like, no, this person that ate the Christian sandwich likes to fuck dragons, so maybe they're not Christian. You know what I mean? It's more like that. It's more like, oh, did you know this guy's a weird dragon fucker? How come all these weird dragon fuckers congregate around the same sandwich shop? Maybe you want to stay away from the sandwich shop that caters to the weird dragon fuckers. You know, like that's actually a better analogy. It's about the dragon fuckers. Like, he misses the entire point. The entire point is that most people that we have looked into, and again, this is just public socials, most people that we've looked into are weird coomers or weird dragon fuckers or weird MGTOW bullshit people like the villain or Darziak or Darak. You, like, the people you attract to your streams are a reflection of you. And that is something that Phil has never accepted. Maybe you want to stay away from the guy that attracts the coomers and the dragon fuckers. Maybe that's not a safe place to be. Maybe that's why some detractors do what they do. You know?
Work. And you start Did you know that someone inside that building ate a Christian chicken sandwich? Like, what?
What?
What are you talking about? That's how these
yeah,
people act.
Dude, I know, especially with Darziak's kink list. Dude, now, like, listen, I don't kink shame. I don't kink shame. But if you're going to have kinks and you're going to have a kink list, do it on an alt account. My Lord, my brother in Christ. Everybody's got alt accounts. Everybody's up to weird, nasty shit. This is the internet. But my God, the idea that a username, and the thing is, this is only because of Phil. Phil was sharing his screen. And because Darziak sent Phil OBS profiles, and those OBS profiles was labeled as a username that Darziak was using, we were able to search that username and find that shit. It was Phil. Phil, like, don't ever forget, Phil exposed Darziak's info. Fundamentally, it was Phil's fault. Had Phil not been sharing his screen and we were not able to see the name of that one OBS profile, we never would have found this. So this is still at Phil's feet. Information is information. Data is data. It's all fair game. Especially since we didn't have to circumvent any security to do it. There was no hacking involved. No ops. All people did was Google a username. All people did was Google a username. It's all your fault, Phil.
Came to Phil's stream, tossed them $5 because they like his content, and then they went about their merry way in the rest of their life.
It's
and then you
WWE
left the stream
Champions
and followed them to their social media.
Thanks for the support. NWO. News says, Phil nurtures and defends mentally unstable people who have credit cards in the off chance they send him a massive tip out of sheer derangement.
Correct. which is exactly, if you guys remember, which is exactly what he would do, what he did with Darak. When Darak mentioned that he stole his mother's credit card, the only thing Phil said was, "Oh, thanks for the contributions, but I'm sorry to hear that, Darak." Like, literally, Phil had no qualms and no buts about Darak using his mother's credit card illicitly to give Phil money. And DSP only had a problem with Snorlax King using a bank card that wasn't his when those charges got flagged and charged back by the bank, by the way. He had less of a problem with Snorlax King using a family card that he should not have had access to than the fact that those funds were being charged back. Think about that. Think about it.
To their personal accounts, to their real life content, to their real life stuff. And you harass them because they donated $5 to Phil. What? Well, I'm the one who's crazy. I'm the one who's in the wrong because I make content, because I stream, because I enjoy my life, because I like games, because I hang out with people. I'm the problem? No.
You are responsible for the people you allow to exist in your community. That's just how it is. You are responsible for the people who exist in your community, fundamentally.
Oh, sorry. You've exposed yourselves. You're the fucking problem. You're the weirdos, not me.
I'm the one. That's right, incorrect beans. I'm the one who operated a successful YouTube channel. You know what? We're going on a field trip. We're going on a field trip. Hang on. I'll be with you in a second. Let's get a quick palate cleanser. There we go. Big ups to Dark Side Chill for this robust clip.
Hey, Bandit did a 300-bit cheer. So I'm the one who operated a successful YouTube channel, me re. So someone trying to make fun of me, even though I've never actually said re.
False.
But
flashback.
I'm the one who operated a successful YouTube channel, me re. I'm the one.
Literally, like, people think it's an edit. Like, I remember the first time I showed my girlfriend the re, she's like, that has to be an edit. No. And I said, it's a raw clip. It's a raw clip. So many of the weird shit that he said that, like, people think are edits are just raw clips. It's very funny.
See, I don't know. Lorraine says, do you think it would end if you worked a random regular job, or does it end on the internet? Who knows? But again, these people...
no. I will give Phil this. It would never end if he worked a regular job. If he worked a regular job, you would have people showing up. You would absolutely have people showing up. You'd have people calling the management. Never. That is one thing I will give to Phil. If he were to get a regular job, it would have to be completely anonymous. It would have to be untraceable. He could leave no sign, because if he left any sign of where he worked or what he did, people would find him. People would absolutely find him. It's why Wings can't actually get a real job. Like, Wings has tried several times to, like, get actual jobs, but the few times that he's tried, trolls have either shown up or called the manager and figured it out, you know?
People are crazy stalkerish. You've seen some of the things that they've said and done. They've tried to intervene with simple things like, oh, I'm ordering food for an event, and they would try to mess with the store that I've announced that I'm going to order food from. You know, they literally...
That's not true. A Twitter troll supposedly said, maybe I know someone that works at the Crave cookie store. You better watch out for your next order. The dude was just trolling. Probably not. Most trolling is hot air, to be honest. Most trolls that say I'll roll up in real life don't.
Try to intervene with real life stuff. You know, they've harassed people.
But also, it's DSP's fault for oversharing. Like, DSP's fundamental problem as a person and as an online creator is that he says too much about the shit he's gonna do. he gives way too many breadcrumbs for where he lives, what he does, what he buys. If he didn't give us so much information, we couldn't troll him as hard. He gives us a supply of content so we can troll him.
Me that literally have no association with me just because they're in proximity to me in real life. So just think about that. You know, maybe if I were to quit and shut down everything.
I don't know, dude. Jenna continues to try to use her proximity to you to try and get detractors to say stuff about her and make videos about her. She slid into Meerkat's DMs to ask him to make a Diaper Lady song, and he said, not happening, go find God, which is the best response, in my opinion. Not happening, go find God is the perfect response for Jenna saying, can you make a song about the diaper stuff? So big ups, Meerkat. Meerkat's unapologetic responses in times like that always make me smile. It's so fucking funny.
Completely, 100%. And said, I will not stream ever again. And I went out and I tried to have a real job offline. I bet people would still stalk. I mean, right. With Rings of Redemption, he tried to do, what was it, a DoorDash job? And they got him fired from DoorDash. You know, he didn't do nothing wrong. He just did what
yeah,
they
but
could.
like, that's why you shouldn't overshare about your personal life. Like, you guys know I have a job, but all you know is that I have a job. You know what I mean? You don't know where I work. You don't know exactly what I do because it's not relevant. Like, the key to staying safe as someone who posts on YouTube and makes streams on YouTube is just talk about shit that's relevant to your stream. That's what you should be doing anyway.
To hurt, because again, these people are unhinged, and this is what I mean.
Frog Machine,
when
he
you
streamed
support
himself
YouTubers,
dude, he streamed himself door dashing. Fucking idiot! What are you doing? If you're gonna light up your DoorDash on your own stream, of course people are gonna find you. Fuck that guy.
Who are doing toxic content, you don't understand that they are grooming an entire generation of people to be.
That is AMNS. Excellent point. Let me get it up on screen here. Hold on. AMNS. AMNS says Phil overshares because he feels like he's only broadcasting to his fans. And what he doesn't understand is that the majority of people that watch him, I would say about 70%, are trolls. So the podcast is for us, and he's never quite understood that. There are times where it looks like he knows, but he's never understood that, like, the podcast is for us.
Awful people. I'm going to repeat what I just said, okay? Because I think this is something important that people need to start calling out. This is very, very important that everyone understand this, okay? If you support toxic YouTubers who all they do is stalk and harass people, you are supporting people who are grooming.
But isn't PPP and Kino Casino by extension, aren't their entire brand that they harass other content creators on the internet and make fun of them? Like, actually encourage ops, like actually try to ruin people's life. That it's what they did to Rich. It's what they did to Rich. They lied. They lied about so much shit that went down with Rich in that Dropbox. If you really look into it and really think about what happened with that Dropbox with Rich, they basically lied about a lot of that shit and how it went down, which is exactly the same thing that DSP accuses most of his trolls of doing. Yet he makes a wrestling show with PPP now. PPP is that guy. He is that guy that harasses people online. He is that guy that's a no-life loser. And all he has is misery for people. You know what I mean? Absolutely.
A generation of people to be antisocial sociopaths. And you are telling everyone that's okay.
I don't really know what sociopathy has to do with being antisocial. Like, that's not really the same thing. Like, again, I'm gonna be a pedantic prick, but like, if you're a sociopath, like, sociopaths are social. That's the difference. I think what he's thinking about is psychosis. Psychosis, in a state of psychosis, you're more likely to exhibit antisocial tendencies, because with psychosis, a lot of the times comes paranoia, and you can kind of because I've had family members who have suffered from psychosis, and sometimes it comes down to them just kind of locking themselves in their house for a while out of weird paranoia. Sociopathy is like you interacting with people and not really caring if you hurt them or not. That's sociopathy. He's mixing up the two.
If you watch that content and you support that toxic content.
Yeah, absolutely well swayed. Well swayed says, and the day before the podcast, PPP was spurging on DSP's chat, telling him how to grift right-wingers for the politics show. Yeah, absolutely. And like DSP wrote all that shit off as a joke, but when PPP was saying, you need to grift harder, Phil, we can spend the money better than they can, he wasn't being facetious. He wasn't clowning. PPP genuinely believes that people are stupid, which a lot of people are stupid, and he believes he can take their money. Literally.
All they do is hate on someone. They slander someone. They crap on someone constantly.
Yes, Phil is closer to sociopathy than most trolls would be. Absolutely. Because Phil wants to look out for himself. Phil wants to be number one, and he doesn't care who he hurts or what he has to do to get there. That's closer to actual sociopathic tendencies than what we do.
You are telling a whole generation of people it is okay to behave like that.
Because, for me, I don't troll to get money. There are plenty of ways to make money online. This ain't it. Don't get me wrong. I'm appreciative of anybody that throws a few bucks to either of the channels. But I don't want to hurt Phil. It's just me talking over clips, man. It's me talking over clips and giving a filter for the absurdity. That's it. I don't want to hurt Phil because he does that to himself. Fundamentally, Phil hurts himself more than anybody.
It's not. What's going to end up happening, we're going to have an entire generation of people who are just sitting on the internet all day, antisocial, who are trying to ruin other people's lives. That's not good. That's not even acceptable. That's a societal problem that we're going to have to now tackle, because we have an entire generation growing up where all their social interactions are on the internet. They only have friendships. They only have these relationships with people on the internet.
Marlon POX.
They don't even have anything in real life that's real.
Big ups.
That's fucked up. You have to have that real life connection, that real life stuff, a real life of your own, friends and family and a job and meaningful stuff. You can't just sit on the internet.
That's why I always Deuce Falco. Yep, Philip does this to himself right now. That's why I always tell people there's no need for ops. You don't need to do IRL stuff, because Phil will always self-sabotage. On a long enough timeline with everything that he does and tries, he will always self-sabotage. 14 credit cards, self-sabotage. The idea that he now has to keep his lie about WWE Champions going, he couldn't just let it go. Instead of doing the easy thing and the path of least resistance at the time and saying, yes, I am down from the rafters, I do play on that account, what of it? He has to keep an even bigger lie going that he sold the account. That is the most dented thing ever. He had the perfect chance to get rid of all that bullshit and just... honestly, people would leave him alone about it if he just said, yeah, I play on the Down from the Rafters account. What the fuck are you going to do about it? That would actually be better for him than having to lie about it time after time after time. Because now he's lying about lying. He's lying about lying. He wants to tell the truth. In a way, he did tell the truth, and he said, yeah, I lied for almost 8 years about WWE Champions. But this proves the pathological nature of Phil's lying. He couldn't just let that go. Instead, he had to create another lie. It's like Benoit Blanc says from Knives Out. Inside the donut is a hole, and inside that hole is a bigger hole. So he just created another hole in the donut. You know what I mean? He couldn't just let it go.
On people all day, and there's people
Knives Out's a great movie, by the way, if you haven't seen it. I never watched the sequel, but Knives Out is phenomenal. Very, very fun murder style mystery.
This is it. So now you've allowed people to monetize the hate. You've allowed people to make livings off of it. Guess what? You're fucking up society. YouTube is majorly to blame for this, because they don't care. They have no morals or values. As long as the money rolls in, they'll monetize anything. That's messed up. That should not be allowed to continue. I feel like laws should be in place against it.
But DSP is one of the people that made YouTube toxic. Like, fundamentally. DSP rose to prominence as the king of hate. Like, his main persona back when he started is, I'm DSP, I'm the king of hate, minimum bullshit, maximum truth, or whatever he said. He's one of the ones that made the internet toxic. I credit a lot of toxic YouTube poop to him.
Why are you allowed to monetize actual lies? How does that make sense? I don't get it. Because, offline...
That's right, Raven of
This
Chaos.
shit doesn't fly.
Hot meat
Online,
kettle.
everything goes. I don't get it.
What's up, Nocturnal? How are you? The thing is, Nerd Brew, and like why he failed to be the heel is that like the heel will take consequences of being the heel. You know what I mean? Like part of being a heel in show business, whether it's wrestling, because it's not just wrestling. Like wrestling gave a name for the term, but heels have existed. Heels existed long before the WWF or WWE. But part of being the villain is taking the consequences, kind of being a lightning rod for everything else that's going on. DSP was never strong enough or accepting enough to actually take the consequences of being a heel on the chin. You can respect a heel if they can take their fucking blows on the chin and move on. That's what they're there for. But DSP wanted all of the heat of being a heel in terms of like the notoriety and popularity, but he wanted none of the consequences. And that's why nobody in the FGC ever took him seriously. Because if you're gonna dish out hate like he did, you have to be able to take it. You have to be able to put your fucking money where your mouth is and back it up.
I need to win the lotto. Yeah.
But you did. You did. I'll never forget, on one of Len the Deranged Going Green streams, Snood mentioned, Phil talks about winning the lotto all the time, but he did. He did. Think about the idea of being laid off in 2010 and then a year later getting to a point in your life where you're making $12,000 to $20,000 a month. That's winning the lottery, bro. That's winning the lottery. He did win the lottery. He won at life for that short period in a way that most of us couldn't even begin to dream of, and he squandered it all.
I mean, here's the thing. First of all, I've already said this. If I ever, or somehow by some random chance, became actually
at
like
least
affluent,
$2 million.
all right, I would
That's
still
just
make
the money
content.
we
I
know
want to make
about.
this clear. I would still make content. I would still, put out streams. I would still play games. It would definitely be less. It
and
definitely
the thing
would
is, like, I have a job that's financial in nature, and some of my job is I'm like checking people's salaries and running numbers against averages. My job is very like numbers heavy. But I find that like in my job, when I'm looking at people with $200,000 a year salaries, $400,000 a year salaries, $600,000 a year salaries, they complain about money more than the people making 40 grand a year, 50 grand a year. Because I find that the more money you have, if you have a certain mindset, the more you complain about it and the more you complain about it going away. Whereas the people in my job that I talk to that make 40 grand a year, 50 grand a year, 60 grand a year are the nicest fucking people. They hardly complain about finances, anything we got to do with them. But God forbid we tell someone that makes $600K a year something they don't want to hear about their money. They get very, very upset about it. And DSP is kind of the same way if you think about it. God forbid you tell a guy who thinks he should be making $300 a day plus YouTube plus whatever else he's got going on that he's not going to make $300 a day. The more money you make, if you have the wrong attitude about it, the more you become dependent on that money continuing to come in. That's why, like, the most successful rich people that you see out in the world, and I'm not talking about your Jeff Bezoses and your Elon Musks, but like the millionaires you see outside in the world, they drive like a Honda Civic or a Subaru, and they wear old sneakers and shit like that, because real wealthy people have the mindset of, well, I have money, I'm not going to squander it, I'm going to save it. Because I have encountered a lot of IRL wealthy people in my life, and they're the people that drive beat up used cars because they understand the value of money and they understand how to invest it wisely. Phil doesn't. And a lot of people that have disgusting, filthy amounts of money do not know how to use that money wisely. Basically, the smart millionaires don't look like millionaires when you see them out in the world. And Phil is the example of a flashy rich person. He's bougie as fuck, but there's nothing behind it. It's so empty. He's like rich and flashy, but he does nothing with it.
Yeah, at a smaller scale. But I would still do it.
Asmon is actually a good example. Asmon Gold at this point probably has tens of millions of dollars to his name, right? But he still lives in the same weird house he grew up in. The Asmon is a little bit of a different case because there's a lot of psychological baggage he has associated with that house, and in a lot of ways, psychologically, he can't bring himself to leave. But most cool millionaires are the people you'd never know. Most cool millionaires are like secret millionaires. One of my grandparents' best friends was a secret millionaire. This lady that would come over to my grandparents' house all the time. Eleanor. She would wear just like normal clothes, and whatever, just normal clothes. Drove like a beat up Honda Civic. Again, last time I saw her, she was like 85, 87. But she just looked like a normal lady. And she left my grandparents a bunch of money when she passed away because she was wealthy and nobody knew. Nobody knew she was rich, but she left my grandparents like a lot of money. It's those people you got to look out for. The people that are the flashiest are the people that are struggling the most, in my experience, and that's Phil. Phil is the epitome of a person that has money with style over substance.
Love it. Like, I actually have passion for this. It's not just to make a paycheck. It's because I actually enjoy myself. Okay. And I love it. I love hanging out with you guys. I love the interactions we have. I do. That's what I'm really here for. I'm not here to, print money.
Yes.
If that were the case, I would be doing 20 other
money.
Things that are more profitable.
You're exactly here for
how many
the money.
opportunities. I just had the opportunity months ago to get into drama content, and I didn't.
Yeah, he wants you to like his
setup. I could have been way more profitable,
point,
but I don't care about that, right? I stuck to my guns. But anyway,
one of my favorite Philisms lately is, if you like my setup, if you like the improvements, please tip. It's very funny.
Yeah, like if I ever were to be,
Crinbear, that's a very good way to describe it. Good rich people focus on their needs over wants. I think you could extend that to everybody. Take care of your needs first, and then take care of the occasional want. Because I want a lot of things for myself and my house and my life, but you have to take care of your needs. If you let your wants get ahead of your needs, that is a path to self-destruction. Because you probably want that new game console coming out, or you want that new PC. But if you don't pay the heating bill, or you don't buy food, you can't fucking eat, or you can't fucking stay warm. Always take care of your wants first, or always take care of your needs first. I'm sorry, I misspoke. And Phil never understood that, because we've seen it. He'll blow money on games or whatever, and he'll say, "Guys, I don't have enough money for groceries, dude." That's the problem.
Become affluent, maybe that I would have to start something in regards to showing everyone that.
Wrestling Ranter, if anything, what we do helps him. Like, he has to understand that trolling helps him fundamentally, because it gets more people to his content. He gets more views. Like, I watch Phil's stuff raw enough, because when I'm looking for things, I use PigPigGo. So I'll find it on PigPigGo, and then I'll like cross-reference it. I'll find it on Raw Phil. I'll find it on Mimology. But I end up watching a lot of Phil's raw content and actually giving him like a decent amount of views. or like those Hitman videos. Lefty and I have watched dozens of hours of Phil playing Hitman. By the way, I guess I can talk about this now because it's in progress. There will be more Hitman, more Takin Ls, Logan, Lefty Hitman content coming to the channel because I was going through some files on one of my hard drives, kind of doing like a data cleanup. I found a recording of a Hitman video that Lefty and I literally forgot we recorded. Because I messaged Lefty a couple weeks ago about it. I was like, did you know there was another Hitman map we recorded but never posted? It's like, no, I don't even remember it. It's like, I don't remember recording it either. I don't know what was going on in our lives at the time, but neither of us remember recording this fucking Hitman map. But it's on my system. I have it. I listened to it. I know it's there. So there will be, no, it's not going to be membership only. There is a yeah, actually, if you go back, if you're a member and you go back through our membership videos, there'll be a record of that recording because we always do the live recordings for members only. So there is a record of that recording. So if you're a member and you want to watch the raw recording, it'd be there. Holy shit, I completely forgot about that. But Lefty and I forgot we recorded a thing, so I'm gonna start editing it today. Actually, I don't know when it'll be done, but there will be more Hitman content, and we're talking about doing other maps too. Like we want to keep we're both in a place where we want to keep that series going. So more to come on that. More to come on that. But the edited videos are always free. We would never paywall the actual end product. But the recording sessions when we do them are members only. So if you wanna hang out for those live recordings or see those live recordings, that's a reason to become a member. But the final product will always be free. We will not paywall those.
You can't just say and do whatever the fuck you want. You can't create an entire toxic community of sociopathic people and tell them it's okay to go harass people. You can't make a video outright lying about what someone said and then try to mobilize people against them.
How are we lying about what
That's
you
illegal.
say, though, Phil?
It always
How
has.
are we lying? This is literally your clip. This is just your clip, and it looks like Atlas pushed it in a little bit and put the chat on the other side. But it's your clip.
But no one takes action.
Thank you, Timo,
which is
for becoming a El Cheapo supporter. Whoa, dude. Going in for a little snack. That's disgusting. As I just touched my face to itch my nose, by the way. I know. Wow. Incredible. All right. What else do we have here? Oh, yes. This is Kino Casino Snaking Phil. Big ups, Expand Dong.
Hello, Expand Dong. How you doing, dude?
Gave us like one.
So
Expand Dong
Steve,
putting
I
in the
don't know
work.
if you have seen
Expand
this
Dong
whack-
and Cerulean 86 as well. So big ups to the both of them, by the way. Yes, Expand Dong is Swollen Dingus, if you guys were wondering. Expand Dong and Dingus are the exact same person.
we found called Rudyard yet?
No.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
Oh,
No, but you know,
Steve.
I have been catching up on a lot of the people that you guys mess with. So I'm caught up on Rakita Law and on Darkside Phil. I didn't know
Garfield and Kirby
There's like
is a
there's
pretty
like
pleasant
4-hour
crossover.
Deep dives into these people on YouTube, and I
Yeah.
don't sleep much, so I was listening. You know, I know all about
I don't know.
Darkside Phil and his fundraising scams. My favorite is yeah. My favorite.
Go on, Steve. Tell us your favorite. Tell us your favorite.
Yeah, I think both
Is it
Cerulean
dirty?
and Dingus are
Is it
Canadian.
dirty?
A lot of Canadians in the vortex.
For more money to pay the income tax on the new money.
Steve, tell us your favorite Phil scam. Which one is your favorite?
My favorite was when he did a fundraiser to get the state taxes that he owed, and then he got that, and then he went back to the audience. He was like, "I got a problem because now my income went up, and now I need more money to pay the money."
But they're just razzing, guys. Remember, they're just razzing, and we're gonna get to Phil's reaction after this clip. By the way,
Get him!
they're just razzing, guys. No problem.
No, I think I feel bad for him though, because
if that guy was such an early adopter into streaming for games and he was getting millions of views, and now look at
No,
his
DJ
views,
Runo is not a fan of the poutine. Yeah, me neither, actually.
No, but what
I never got
you
into
don't
poutine.
Understand, Steve.
But
is
he's a
that
survivor, though. You got to give him credit. He's like, I used to get millions of views, and now I'm streaming with PPP for 1,000 views and $27 in donos. You know, like he's a survivor. Good
He's
for
a
him.
survivor. So back in the day on Twitch, like
I had to
it turned
refresh
out, like,
my
the
chat
average
pop-up. Sorry,
person
everybody.
on Twitch got about
Now it works.
26 cents or 50 cents a viewer.
Bug
right?
chat mechanics, dude.
Darkside Phil makes like $58 per viewer. And it's just like they call it Pignosis, Steve. So they call him
needs 10 viewers to have a good night.
They call him the pig.
The funny thing is, this Steve Cambion guy has it exactly correct. Coming in as like a weird discount Kylo Ren outsider, he has it exactly right. DSP only would need 10 viewers to have a good night if they all paid. Now, guys, if all you 10 viewers gave me $25 or even $15, we would reach the goal. Like Steve Cambion, I have no idea about this guy. I don't know who he fucking is. He's probably a chud if he's on with Kino, but he has it exactly right. It's amazing that this dude can come in from the outside and get it exactly fucking right.
Roach, and he operates what's called Pignosis, where he tells everybody how poor he is. He's on the verge of homelessness. They're going to take his house. They're going to take his car. My favorite, Steve, was that he was going to be forced to eat lunch meat sandwiches. He's like, what do you guys expect me to eat lunch meat sandwiches?
Wait, what?
Worse than a meatloaf.
Wait, what do you mean?
So you don't know this one, Worst?
No, I don't know the lunch.
Reduced to eating lunch meat sandwiches.
Yeah, dude, I know. Ash, I don't know how anybody sits through Kino Casino streams on the regular. He is so hard to listen to. We're full of Canadian accents around here too. We have Snood, we have Kinda Sav. I listen to Canadians daily. I often am catching Sav's Twitch streams, and I watch a lot of Snood content. So I'm used to the Canadian accent. I think Ashton just has a very grating voice.
One of Phil's complaints was that he needed more donos because otherwise he'd be so poor that he would have to resort to eating lunch meat sandwiches, and that just won't fucking do. So Phil
she does. It's funny. I find it very I find it very funny to listen to, but also kind of disarming. I don't know. It's funny. She says things like a boot and against. It's very funny. Big up, Sav. I like your streams.
That money. Now, Steve, have you heard of where all the money goes? Because Phil makes like $200,000 a year.
Oh hell yeah, Flowchart Cammy, me too. I'll lay it.
Wrestling mobile.
I'm a
game.
straight ass male, and I base Snood.
Yes,
100%.
And then he said I wasn't playing that, and somebody caught him, and then he said he sold
Sorry.
the account, and that's somebody else.
You know, in radio, like when you're teaching to pronounce things for radio, my vocal coach and like accent coaches always said to say sorry and not sorry, because sorry is actually like more grating on the ears, where you can make sorry sound a little better, you know.
I was trying to get him. I was trying to get him to
sorry.
ask to it again today.
I was always taught to say
on the
sorry.
wrestling show. We
Sorry
now
about
have
that.
a segment called Grill Phil, where every week I grill Phil about his various scams and lies. And this week on Grill Phil, we grilled Phil about his WWE Champions lies, where yes, he admits that the account was him. And yes, he admits that he spent tens of thousands of dollars on
but
it.
then he sold the account, so he doesn't have access to it anymore.
Except it's against the terms of service to sell the account. And with the amount of people that
so we're talking about the chat is derailing, talking about what Snood looks like. Snood, if you've ever seen the guy on YouTube, Kit Boga, I think Snood looks like he could be like the older brother of of Kid Boga. If you know Kid Boga, you know what I'm talking about. Those two look like they could be related. They look like they could be brothers. I could see them hanging out, hanging out with mom and dad. I just kept getting Kid Boga vibes all night when I was looking at Snood.
Reporting him because of all of his detractors and haters or trolls or what have you.
So it's still his account. Yeah.
Yes, and also it wasn't
Snood
listed
is kind of
on any of the
Rocco
sites that
reminiscent,
do sell
isn't
these
he,
accounts.
Perez? That's a good point.
Wow.
And he's like, well, then
Yes.
change.
No, the combination of the smile and sunglasses very much Kid Boga. Very much. I just couldn't stop thinking about Kid Boga the entire night.
I sold it privately.
Yeah, I used to have a friend that's like him too, P, because I had this friend that would spend like tens of thousands of dollars on like Spawn and Marble, real expensive figurines.
Oh,
and they were
man.
all over his house. His fucking house got foreclosed on because he didn't have the money to pay his
Dude,
mortgage.
Steve Cambion's gotta be from New Jersey, right? That is a New Jersey ass accent if I've ever heard. He's at his house. He's got him at his house. Yeah, that's a New Jersey ass accent. That's like a New Jersey or like southeastern Pennsylvania accent. That's like fucking borderline AVGN style accent. Next thing you know, he's gonna be saying Mountain.
Because he bought too many Spawn figures or something.
Well, they are pretty cool. Those McFarlane toys are
House.
sweet. Buddy.
They're
Come
like,
on.
Look, his father came over, and I was there, and his father's like, "You ought to start selling some of this stupid shit, so I don't have to loan you money to pay your mortgage, you asshole." And his dad was like this old crotchety guy.
Now,
So
we can really prove it beyond any shadow of a doubt that it is Phil, because first of all, it's on a 3,000-day login streak.
Rolling Rock.
So for the
I'm
last
drinking Rolling Rock. I'm a Rolling Rocker.
It's 10
that's
years.
Right. If you
It's
know,
like
you know.
8 or 10 years.
Yes. For one. For two, it just so happens that said person who owns the account is playing exactly when Phil stops streaming every day.
That.
Again, this is undeniable snaking. Undeniable. Like you cannot interpret this as anything else but absolute snake behavior.
Always when he's not streaming.
At the
He never
moment
plays when he's streaming.
stops fucking streaming, it's immediately, active.
It's Phil.
Well, maybe I'm retarded, but how do you spend tens of thousands of dollars on a mobile game? Is it like
No, you're
in-game
not retarded.
purchases?
So
He's retarded.
So
I agree.
Steve.
I agree. Fluctuating miasma, amazing AVGN content. That was relatively early too. Very fun. There's a lot of early AVGN content that holds up remarkably well.
You don't
Or is
understand.
it pay to win or in-app purchases, or like how do you spend that much on a mobile game?
Correct, Wesley H.
You have to pull for Hogan. See, are you familiar with the concept of a loot box in a video game?
Loot box. Fuck yeah.
Not very
Okay,
much,
so
no.
basically it's like casino gambling, but we can target it to children. So what it is you get like random cosmetic items, but you don't get to buy the ones that you want. See,
it's like in a pack.
You can only.
Oh yeah,
you can
PPP
only
is
buy
Canadian as hell.
like card
They both
packs,
are.
so
Both
you
him and
buy
Andy
booster
are
packs,
Canadian as
Pokemon
fuck.
cards,
Imagine
Pokemon
yeah,
cards.
Magic,
You want the
stuff like this.
Charmander, right? So you buy 1,000,000 packs. He
So, but
buys the wrestling
But instead
packs.
of getting physical cards, you get digital pictures of wrestlers.
That's pretty.
And there's different versions of them, like Zombie
there's
Hogan.
I think so this guy Steve Cambion. Steve Cambion sounds like he's from New Jersey. That's what I think, because the way he says house is very much like a North Jersey thing.
There's Zombie Hulk Hogan. There's Ghostbuster Hulk Hogan. There's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle
I think Andy
Hulk
is a
Hogan.
fake gamer.
And
Yeah,
this dork is buying all of
I don't
this
think Andy
crap?
knows about half the
And
shit he
it's
talks about.
$100 a pack.
Oh
Or he's
my
forgotten
God.
it all
Oh
because of
my
all the
God.
fucking
I think
crack he
it's such better
smoked.
things to
I don't
do
know.
with $100. Go to a strip club, you
Yeah,
dork.
flush it.
Eventually, we managed to get Phil to admit he was playing the game. And then
That wasn't you. That was the immense social pressure of the June the King documentary, but go on.
got Phil to start playing the game on live stream. but it was on a different account.
He's got an old account, yeah.
So he created this new account where he was dumping thousands of dollars on live stream into the card packs. It was funny because for years he said he never played. But the moment he started playing on live stream,
yeah, maybe he did
every
Koraz.
single
Maybe.
aspect of the game, how to maximize the pulls, how to maximize the XP. Normally he doesn't know anything about anything or any video game, ever. Even though it's his job to be a pro gamer.
He's dropping all this money and then he's crying to his audience that he needs money.
Yes,
put the phone down, you dumbass.
Oh, but he needs. Okay, so all of the money goes to.
Again, this is like. Phil is doing some amazing mental gymnastics if he thinks that this is anything else but massive dunking.
3 things. Scopely, the mobile game for WWE. DoorDash for him. Because
so he's lazy.
Yeah, well, he's
just
been a
razzing.
professional
That's right,
gamer
razzing.
And bagger for 15 years, so that goes without saying. And it also goes to Total Wine. So it actually, his bank leaks came out. So
that's right, because of the bank.
Came out. It's like I'm watching Trailer Park Boys up in here.
Bankruptcy, right? And he had to declare his expenses.
It wasn't even the bankruptcy. Some fucking psychopath.
Or like, I don't know, PPP is reminding me of like an era of Nickelodeon. There was an era of Nickelodeon when I was in middle school where you could tell all of the shows were shot in Canada because a lot of the actors for like the lesser known or like B and C tier Nickelodeon shows, they all had Canadian accents. And it was very obvious.
His bank account.
Oh man,
dude, Pete and Pete's my shit. I watched I watched an episode of Pete and Pete recently. The pool episode of Pete and Pete where Pete becomes a lifeguard. Very fun. Or the one where Pete becomes a bus driver. Or the one where Little Pete has a radio show. Little Pete was a fucking chaos agent, and I loved him. He's so fucking funny.
To learn the truth, Steve.
Anybody that can, I think you can watch it on Paramount Plus. There's ways you can watch Pete and Pete. Go watch Pete and Pete. It's fucking funny. And Darak fact, Danny Tamborelli would eventually become the voice of Jimmy DeSanta on GTA 5. That was Little Pete. Little Pete is Jimmy, which is wild to think about.
Actually are so demented.
Oh, the Mr. Tasty episode is fucking grim, like incredibly grim. I watched it a couple years ago as an adult, and it hits way different as a grown up. There's like a weird like asexuality plot thread about Mr. Tasty, about like why he can't take his helmet off. It's really weird.
God, they broke the fucking law. They're fucked in the head. The people that fuck with Phil are fucked.
Yep, PPP lying segment incoming. Yeah, PPP lies so hard in the next minute or two. Thank you, Flowchart Gammy. I love your name. I love your PFP. It's so fucking funny.
Where I almost feel bad for Phil. Like, you know what I mean?
felt bad for him when I saw what kind of views he used to get, and then I checked it on his channel, and I was like, wow.
Steve, some guy was so obsessed with Phil. Some guy was so obsessed with Phil that he tracked down Phil's wife's sister. He went through the trouble of courting Phil's wife's sister.
No, this is a lie. Jenna was an escort, and she was posting ads for her services on sites where you can find ads for those services, and someone did stuff with her in a hotel room with a tub full of Kool-Aid and posted on KF about it. It wasn't literally they sought to track down Jenna. It kind of just happened that way, and posts about it emerged on KF. I mean, if you're an escort, all that shit is fair game. Like there was no op. Is kind of the thing. Like PPP is making it seem like it was some weird op. It wasn't an op. It was just a thing that happened and pictures got posted on KF. Just like there was no op to the person who saw Kat in public working at Lucky Brands. It was just someone who happened to live in that general area who knew about DSP, and I guess knew ALT operated, that being said, and thought he would find that interesting. There's no op. If you see a public posting or you see someone in public, there's no op. PPP, you're a retard.
To fuck Phil's wife's sister and post evidence of it online. That he fucked Phil's sister-in-law.
Oh my god, I thought the UFO nutters.
I agree. Cyrax is a much worse monster than DSP. If you ever want to know how bad Cyrax is, look up the story of Blind Billy for Cyrax, and you'll know. I mean, look it up if you want to know, but I advise you don't look it up. Do not look up the story of Blind. Like, I wish I could literally unlearn the story of Blind Billy. A very sad story, very fucked up. And it speaks to the level of degenerate monster that Cyrax is, and Cyrax deserves to be behind bars for the rest of his fucking miserable life. Absolutely.
Daughters.
Phil, okay, Steve, here's one more. We'll just get a couple more and we'll move on. Steve, these motherfuckers hate Phil so much. A guy got hired at Comcast in the area where Phil lives, specifically so he could fuck with Phil.
Also a lie, and also never confirmed. If there was a Comcast detractor, was an actual Comcast detractor, well, okay. I'll say this. The fact that there were names in his gateway, names for his various wireless gateways that were specific to detractor memes, yeah, it was a troll. But I think the extent of the trolling is massively exaggerated, and it was never proven. Like, the dots were never connected. Like, yeah, someone got into his wireless gateway and someone changed the names of various network IDs and things, but it didn't have to be a Comcast employer to do that. There's very little I can say about this without possibly breaching some kind of TOS. But if you have someone's IP address and you know what type of network hardware they're using, it's not that hard to get into their gateway and do shit. It wouldn't be that hard, to be honest. So more than likely, the whole thing that happened with Comcast was just a random troll that hacked his shit, and it had nothing to do with Comcast itself. Nothing to do. I actually find that more plausible than there being a detractor at Comcast, by the way.
Phil's internet.
When he was streaming?
Yes.
Anyway, so he was streaming and pull it?
Like, the employee at Comcast would actually...
Like, I think where I'm going is, like, I don't think an employee at Comcast would risk a job over DSP. And anybody that would risk a job over DSP is a retard. Like, don't do it.
Unplug his internet and turn it back on.
And that's also the thing about, like, the service centers and the support centers for a lot of US ISPs are, like, Mexican based or, like, Argentina based, or, like, I have a call center team that I've worked with in my direct business for my work, and they're all based in Metro Manila, the Philippines. So, like, the odds are if you have a job that's supported by a service center, they're somewhere else. And I don't know. I really don't see, at least a lot of the call center folks that I work with and that support the work that I do, I don't see one of them risking their job for someone like DSP. It doesn't make sense. What makes more sense to me is a random troll got into his shit through means outside of Comcast and changed his shit. That's the most likely scenario.
In, like, Power Trip. So, like,
imagine it being Argentinian.
Like, they'll pretend.
Yeah, I only know from my personal experience because my last job I had before this one, I actually was one of the people that helped get a call center online and work with people in the I wasn't physically in the Philippines. I'm a remote worker, but, like, one of my responsibilities of my last job was to, like, make sure we could get the service center online and make sure that they understood, like, call flows and stuff like that. And I don't see any of those people that I helped train or that I've talked to risking their job for somebody like DSP. Like, people in those situations need the money too fucking much. Like, not to get classist or, like, too socioeconomical, But people in countries like that are working call center jobs need the fucking job. So they're not going to risk it for DSP most of the time.
To be like employees of like the city to get access to his house?
Also a lie. No detractor has been inside DSP's house. No detractor's been inside DSP's house. If there was a delivery guy that was a detractor, we would have known about it because photos would have surfaced. Like this is lie after lie after lie. And this is just DSP trying to be a shitlord. And make everybody like he wants to make Phil look bad and he wants to make the trolls look bad. In that way, he is a very equal opportunity razzer. He wants to make everybody but himself look like a retard, but he is the biggest retard in the fucking room right now, both literally and figuratively, by the way.
And they'll take pictures inside his house and shit. So they
Never
so
happened.
They learn the layout.
Never happened.
This is the stuff that they do to fuck with Phil. And so like it's no wonder the guy has become like a full-on hermit that never leaves his house and shit. Because like, you think he's like paranoid.
So Phil
but,
probably latched on to this segment where PPP was like, oh yeah, his trolls are mentally deranged, this, that, and the third. And he looks at it as Ashton supporting him. He probably did some selective listening here and was like, no, Ashton likes me. Blech.
If you actually learned that there was some guy fucking with your internet, like the
correct, use
Comcast,
flashlight, absolutely.
Just to mess up my show, yeah.
Condo floor plans are public. Like before I moved into this condo, when we were planning the move, we looked up floor plans of this specific condo type and this specific community. Like they're online. They're on websites. These condo associations want to sell people condos. Therefore, the floor plans are public knowledge because it's advertising. You want to know that you have sufficient space. Like it's not hard. Like people figured out where he lived because of all the shit he said he was near, and then they figured out that it was Palm Court, and they figured out what kind of floor plan he would have had as a fucking end unit or middle unit. It's not that hard.
Probably go a little bit fucking nutty as well.
Twisted.
Twisted,
Can I
bro.
tell you one thing here? One of my favorite things that he's ever done. He reviewed Final Fantasy 13.
All right, we don't need to see this. Well, he doxed himself in Connecticut for sure. He showed envelopes of his actual address in Stratford and doxed himself. And like honestly, like his I think he's technically right in the respect that people posting his actual address online is doxing, because people have done that. Like people have posted his rent and address online, and that is doxing. But there is some responsibility for Phil leading to a dox, because if you give people a robust enough trail of breadcrumbs, they're going to follow it and they're going to figure out where you live. It's human nature and it's the internet. And when you're as much of an internet asshole as Phil, people are going to try and figure out where you are. They're going to geolocate you.
I received a $1.50 tip.
All right, here we go. This is okay. So yes, I did do the clips in the right order. This is Phil defending his boyfriend. Let's fucking go. Big ups. Expand Dong, another Expand Dong clip.
Here we go again. All right, guys. All right, is Ash here?
Ash.
This is so ridiculous. These people are, I'm sorry, people are so slow and dumb. I'm sorry to say it. They just are. Ladies and gentlemen, I've said this a million times, but no one listens to me. Okay?
Ash. Hey, Ash. That's
if
right.
you genuinely believe that, like, because someone is
yeah, big
how
ups
can I say?
Dingus.
I
do have to shout Expand Dong / Dingus out massively, because he does a lot of the work of culling the Kino Casino stuff, and that shit is very hard to get through. Like I would find these clips if they weren't there. Like there's ways to get them, but goddamn, he makes things way easier, because I can't tolerate Kino.
criticizing someone or razzing someone or even trolling someone. It doesn't mean that they hate them. Guys, I want you to tell you something. If every single person.
Yeah, you know, that's Dingus has talked to Phil directly over the years as Expand Dong. And Expand Dong is like a known troll at this point, but Phil still talks to him. To this day, Phil will say hi to Expand Dong in chat and shout him out in chat all the time. To this day. That's very funny.
Whoever brought up something, negative about me or made fun of me, if I've ever
fluctuating miasma, that's a good point. We're not actually saying they hate you. We're saying they talk shit about you. There's a difference because a lot of trolls don't actually hate you. I don't hate DSP. I don't, but I'll talk shit about him. I'll talk shit about him because certain things he does are weird to me and they may even upset me, but I don't hate him. Hate is a strong word.
Every single one of them, if I made them like my enemy, I would have no one left to talk to. Do you understand that?
But you've done that. You've done that. And you are so desperate to have internet friends that you have befriended your bullies. He has literally befriended his bullies. PPP is a bigger bully and a bigger troll than I or any of us that make troll streams and videos could ever amount to in our entire lives.
You know that, right? Like, it's been a decade. Everyone dumps on Dark Side Phil. Did you notice that? I mean, where have you been, living in a fucking cave? All right. So last night on Kino Casino, they had a guest, and the guest was talking a little bit about me. So they brought me up for like a small segment where they were bringing up stuff like, Phil spent all his money on
his
WWE
only friends are
Champions
2 Canadian
scammed his
crackheads.
viewers and
Well, one confirmed, one likely Canadian crackhead. Just to qualify that statement. Is it confirmed that PPP has also done the hard stuff? I don't know. I know more about Worski than I do about PPP because I was following BreadTube a lot back at that time, and oh boy, when that whole aim thing came about, that's what everybody in the political space is fucking talking about. So I do know way more about Worski than I do PPP, to confess.
here's him trying to eat cup soup or cup noodles with a fucking spoon. And here's him trying to unbox a game, but there's a fire alarm going on. You know, all the common stuff that everyone's gone over. But what is it's funny stuff. I agree. Like, I
as
see
much
that
or
segment,
more flowchart
I laugh
gaming.
my ass off.
Likely
I
more,
think it's funny.
actually.
Legit. I think it's like, dude, they're doing the usual best of shit. It's like the best of montage, right? It is. It's like the funniest, dumbest shit. It's the dumb shit I've done over the years. What everyone talks about, what everyone laughs at, right? Like, I don't get it. Like, what's the problem exactly?
So Barrymore Rice, I think it's pronounced. Yeah, Rambo and Howard were actually his friends, and I believe Howard was his friend. And I think Howard was the type of friend that would give people tough love, would give people a lot of tough love. There is something to be said about calling it like you see it when you care for a friend of yours that is making bad choices or making you upset. John, I think, dealt with a lot of his anger and a lot of his grief quietly, where Howard seems like the type of guy that would wear his actions and emotions on his sleeve. A very sort of a emotive person as opposed to Rambo. And I think that bothered Phil a lot. But I think Howard, by giving Phil a hard time and by pushing back, was trying to help Phil in his own way. And Phil never understood that. 45 Jackie says, it's not eating cup of noodles with a spoon. That's weird. It's making a cup of noodles with a coffee maker. Yeah, I mean... So I make ramen with a tea kettle, right? Because what's a good way of getting water really hot? You use a tea kettle. I made ramen packets with a tea kettle, but a coffee maker, like a $200 coffee maker, no. But a $20 kettle, sure. Why not? I do a lot of cooking with the kettle. Best way to get water hot, dude.
And I'm like, that's funny shit. Why? You want to know who has a problem with it? My detractors. Because they want to act like this is some heinous shit going on. It's so bad, right? That they would like make fun of Phil.
No, it's not that we have a problem with it. It's just that we're pointing out that you're a massive cuck because you're doing a wrestling show, presumably a weekly wrestling show, with the same guy who called your wife a fat bitch and the same guy who's calling you a beggar and a bum. I would never do content with someone that called me a beggar and a bum, because that is beyond my dignity and pride, you know? Like I make internet content and I post about a gouty pig roach. It's not that deep. But I wouldn't want to do crossovers with someone that called me a bum or someone that called my girlfriend a bitch or whatever. I just wouldn't do that, because there are certain lines you don't cross as a person with dignity, you know? And Phil clearly has no dignity when it comes to when he sees dollar signs. Phil talks about shilling. Phil talks about selling out all the time. This is selling out. Factually, doing a wrestling show with a guy who calls your wife a fat bitch is selling out because you see dollar signs. But he doesn't see it that way.
Fun of Phil before, they're going to keep making fun of Phil. If Phil's not offended, why would anyone be? I'm the one being made fun of.
I'm the one.
And if I'm okay with it, then no one should have issue with it. I think it's funny. I legit wish I was there.
All right, guys. I'm gonna go send some beg tweets.
If I was watching it
I'm gonna go send some beg tweets. I'll be right back.
I would have had a good time with it too. That's funny stuff. Everyone makes fun of me for that shit. So why? I don't get it. But again, the morons of the internet want to be like, well, don't you get it? He really hates your guts. Yes. Let me tell you, Ashton hates my guts. That's why we just did a 2.5-hour wrestling commentary show with each other, where we played well off each other. It was a successful show. We want to work together moving forward in the future. He must really hate my guts. Are you retarded? I mean, no, honestly, I know. Well, that's insulting to say. I can't figure it out. How else could you even think that? There you go. Big Papa Phil just said, for years, people have, well, he didn't say for years. I'm adding this. People are asking Phil to laugh at himself. Now he finally is. Right. Exactly. I can now watch this stuff back and I can laugh at it as much as you guys. Listen, me doing an unboxing video where all I do is get tortured by a fire alarm for 25 minutes and I never open the box. That's funny. At one point, I wasn't self-aware. All right? And I would watch that, and I would actually be like, oh, how dare you make fun of me?
I'm back.
How dare you insult me and say that? Now I watch it, I'm like, dude, that's genuinely funny shit. What a moron I was. That was
funny shit.
Dumb shit. You know? But that's because this is modern Phil.
Okay, so if modern Phil is cool with detractors dunking on him now, why did he threaten to sue us all into oblivion less than 2 weeks ago? Does anybody know? Can anybody answer that? Because remember 2 weeks ago when he said, you guys better hope I never buy a lottery ticket, because if I win the lotto, I'll have lots of time and I'll have the money to sue all of you into oblivion. Okay? He said that 2 weeks ago, or less than 2 weeks ago. Yeah, Koraz members.
I matured. I'm in the same
Big ups, Atlas.
shoes as all
Welcome
of you.
to the stream, brother.
I watch myself from an outside perspective. Oh my God. This is so dumb, right? I was such an idiot, right? I look at all this,
I mean, he can sue me for the $150 in revenue that I make on this channel per month. That's fine. And when and if Lefty posts, it gets split with Lefty. So yeah, he can sue us for the $150 a month we make on this channel. Great, sure. You can have it, Phil. I don't even really fucking care. Take it.
Dumb WWE
I'm stable
Championship.
otherwise.
I lied about it for the longest time and everything. I look at it, I'm like, yeah, I was a moron. You know, this is fine. Now I can laugh about it. But it's like people don't want to just admit that things are different. They want to be like, well, he's the same guy, so that means, see, they're your villain. They hate your guts and shit. Really?
No, he's misinterpreting the entire thing. It's people calling him a cuck. People are calling him a cuck and a loser for letting PPP talk about him like this and then going on a wrestling show the next day. Or no, whatever. These were a day apart. So I think the sequence of events was wrestling show, then Kino talking to Steve Cambion. But within a 24-hour span, let's say 48-hour span, because it was 48 hours between wrestling show, them talking to Steve Cambion, and this. The amount of mental gymnastics you have to do in that 2-day span is incredible. And it really speaks to how Phil is willing to basically whore himself out for money.
Really? And here's the thing too. Right now,
I mean, I don't think I would start beefs with anybody that talked to me like that. I think I wouldn't watch them, and I sure as hell wouldn't want them to be on my stream, you know? But Phil can't even do that because he's dependent on other people for money. He's dependent on PPP for hype, and he's dependent on Kino Casino for hype, and he's dependent on their pay pigs and his for money. So despite doing so at his own peril, he absolutely cannot and will not speak against Kino Casino, which is what he should do, honestly. If he wanted to get a little bit of respect amongst his trolls, detractors, haters, and critics, he would speak against PPP and he'd make fun of them. But I also don't think he wants to incur the wrath of true Kino dents, because if they start trolling him, he's done.
I were to make fun of Ash, if I were to make fun of Andy, do you
Andy.
think they're going to be fucking offended? They don't care. We don't care. We laugh at this shit, you know?
Okay, who's we? Who's we? Because it seems like they were laughing at you. They were laughing directly at you, and you weren't there. So they were laughing at you, not with you. In order to laugh with you, you would have to be there. You would have to absolutely be there.
I don't really make that kind of content, you know? Like maybe one day I would, I don't know. But I don't really do that. So I'm not going to sit here and have, it's
Thank
the
you for
time
the membership.
to
Big ups, Movie Sign. Thank you for becoming an El Cheapo supporter. I appreciate you.
Kind of, dump on them segment, because I just don't do those segments, you know? That's not my...
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. This entire thing, back in early August, I think it was, the entire thing started with him doing the poker chip thing about RTU. This entire thing started with him dunking on another lolcow, by the way. So he can't come back here and say, I don't do that. You don't do that. You did that not 3 weeks ago. There was an RTU segment at least 3 weeks ago that I remember. Whatever, time is a flat circle. I don't fucking know. I don't know.
That's not my forte. I could, but
is he eating Venezuelan food
They're
today?
They're good at it.
Probably.
They're funny, man.
They're funny,
There
man.
you go. Ashton says there's a difference between friends having fun, talking about this stuff, and mentally unhinged psychos who want to hurt Phil's business and make him homeless. Yeah. Do you think that anything
That's me, mentally unhinged
that they
psycho.
said on Kino Casino last night
Hell yeah.
negatively affected me and my business or my life?
It's not my forte.
They regurgitated the same stuff you've already heard. They laughed at it. They exposed it to someone new, someone who didn't understand the lore. That person now laughs at it. It's, what's the...
No, I don't know. PPP and Andy, or PPP at least, has known about DSP for a while. PPP has mentioned DSP for like a good while on Kino Casino. So Phil is just being ignorant, or he's in total denial. But PPP has mentioned Phil several times in the past year, even before linking up with him.
Problem here. They weren't sitting there on their stream saying, Phil is an absolutely horrible person who doesn't deserve any success.
Yeah, I agree, Atlas. Saying you should have more lore should be a huge red flag. Yeah, and the idea of him, like, I don't think I pulled the clip for today, but the idea of him talking about the mythos of WWE Champions, of like, I wanted to keep the mythos going. If you need to keep the mythos of a lie going, you fucked up. That's not good content. If the controversy and the hype swirling around your content is based on a lie you've told for 7 years, it's a bad plan.
Wish him the worst, and we hope that he loses everything. They didn't say that. If they said that, then maybe I'd be like, all right, something's up here. Okay? They were just laughing at common shit.
Common shit.
What the fuck is wrong with people? Again, it's called moving the goalpost. So Phil never knew how to laugh at himself. Okay? So he's not self-aware. He's a dunce, and now we should, make fun of him and deride him and bring him down for that. Okay, so now I'm okay with it. Everyone laugh at the shit. I think it's funny too. Oh, there's no way.
Yeah, like so Atlas, he keeps telling people, look at me for the person I am. Look at me for the content I make. Well, at the same time saying, I'm keeping it going because I thought the mythos around my relationship with WWE Champions would be more interesting. Isn't that antithetical to you saying people should judge me based on my content. That is completely antithetical. That's drama. DSP has fabricated drama around himself, despite saying time and time and time again that he doesn't do that. That's why he's his own worst detractor, 100% of the time. Phil has been more harmful to himself than any troll could ever be. That's a fact.
Those people are snaking him. That's not, what? Now why do you always got to move it, right? It's never good enough.
Why do you always got to move it, dude?
That's why I don't pay attention to this shit. Or if I see it, I know. It's funny, too, because this morning, right, I got both chats open, YouTube and Kick. And different names, all right? But these accounts are literally saying the same shit at the same time. Did you see what PPP said? Did you see what PPC said? Did you see what Casino said? Did you see what Casino said? Huh? No one in the chats are talking about that. Where are you getting this?
No, but they are talking about it. You just said they're talking about it. He's saying, oh, everyone in the chat was talking about, did you see what PPP said? Did you see what PPP said? That's them talking about it, dude. So why are you saying no one's talking about it? Hello?
Why are you just bringing
No, I agree, Atlas. Contradictions are not that odd, but they're still worth pointing out. They're still worth pointing out, and they're still annoying.
Right? It's the same moron.
Because he professes to be a person who is true, consistent, and honest about everything while contradicting himself at every turn. That's why I feel the need to point out almost every contradiction I see.
Account bullshit. Like
that's right. They're all SOK accounts managed by one troll. It's all Indrid Cold. It's all her. She's got a million socks that she uses to step on people. You got to watch out.
Born yesterday, and I don't fucking realize it's the same people trying to orchestrate drama. I don't give a fuck. Get the fuck out of here. So there is no ill will between me and Ash or Andy. Where it's all good. I told them they could razz me and make fun of me as much as they fucking want. I really don't believe there's any ill will there. Would we be working together?
Yeah, that's why she has 4 keyboards. That's right.
If we hated
She's got to keep typing
stupid?
on all those sock accounts.
Anyway, Robert did a $20 super chat. Thank you, Robert. Thank you so much. He says, you take the trolls like a champ. That's why I liked you back in the day, and I like you now. Keep rolling, Phil. Here's the thing. Back in the day, I did not take trolls like a champ. I actually disagree with Robert on this one.
Actually, I actually think DSP was a little bit better at taking trolling on the chin, like 5 to 7 years ago. Like, yeah, he would still complain and moan about the trolls, but like, I don't know, he was much more willing to fire back in ways that were funny and entertaining. Now he just wallows in it and says, oh, these people don't know what they're talking about. Like he would, like 5 or 7 years ago, he would take shots at Tevin. He would take direct shots at Be Awesome One. You know what I mean? Like there was a time when it was actually cool, fun, interesting drama. Now it's just this.
Okay, back in the day,
Yes. Thanks for the money, dummy, and thanks for the money, stupid fuck. We got those quotes 7 years ago, and not now. You know what I mean? Those were like 2015 to 2017 quotes. There was a time when he was firing back directly at the trolls, and that was funny. Now he just doesn't know how to do it anymore. He just doesn't know how to do it.
All very poorly. This is how you don't play. It actually got traction.
That's why, like, there's a quote I used in a bunch of the Hitman videos. That's like, really funny when he's like, "You are my bitch. It's my money now, and you can lick my balls." Like, that's funny. It's immature. It's childish, and it's funny. He doesn't do that shit today because he doesn't believe in what he says. He doesn't actually believe he's better than the trolls. He knows he needs to put on a front that he is, but he knows we run him.
When people were making them, instead of me laughing and highlighting them and making my own, I got angry, which is stupid. That's because I was dumb and I was ignorant and I thought that my shit didn't stink and I thought that I was the best creator and how dare anyone make fun of me. I mean,
you still think that now, but go on.
I'm like, dude, I'm just a Joe Nobody.
Go on,
I like
King.
making content just for the hell of it. People like it, that's great. I make a living doing it, great. I joke about being a king and shit, but I'm just a normal dude. And I'm still here after 16 years of people dumping on me. I think that means something, right?
Survival is not enough. Like, survival is not enough. There are plenty of things that exist after decades or even hundreds of years that suck.
So, now I do take it better. I absolutely I do.
Yeah, Nerbrew, good point. I'm just a I'm just a Joe nobody with a 4-hour doc. And that's not even the only doc. Like, you can look at Ex Mortis, you can look at Decepticon. Like, Ex Mortis is still working on Beggar's Journey. Like, Beggar's Journey isn't done. Like, he's still putting that shit out. There's still ongoing documentaries about DSP. If DSP was boring and uninteresting and not worth trolling, there wouldn't be several multi-hour videos on him breaking down his entire life and the trials and tribulations.
Ash says, man, I really want Phil to be a millionaire with financial freedom so bad. Ash, were you here earlier? People actually want me
You were a millionaire, but you squandered it. There was a point in time where you should have or could have been a millionaire, but you chose not to pay off your CT condo and you chose to move. Choosing to move was the worst thing he ever did. I believe that he and Panda could have lived relatively comfortably in that CT condo if he was willing to get rid of a lot of his shit. I think a lot of the reason he moved is he just wasn't willing to get rid of his statues, and he didn't want his parents judging him too hard. Because we never really got a sense of whether Dave and Linda liked or acknowledged Leanna that much. And I think maybe a big reason for their move was maybe they didn't like Panda, or maybe they judged him a lot for basically dating a high school dropout, and when he should have been dating people his own age back when he was 30 years old. Because he was 30. He was presumably 29 when they started talking, and 30 when they started dating. I know there was a girl in high school that I liked that was 2 years younger than me. And we kind of maybe were getting a little serious. I think she was no, she was a year and a half younger than me. I was 18. I think she had like just turned 17 or something. I don't know. It's like a year and a half. My parents were kind of upset about that. They're like, "Oh, shouldn't you be dating someone your own age or whatever?" And like we didn't actually end up dating or whatever. But just stayed friends and stuff. But like, if my parents got after me about that stuff, DSP's parents were giving him massive shit for dating a high school dropout at age 30, dating a 18 to 19-year-old high school dropout when he was 30, and he could have been dating women his own age. I got to tell you something. There are plenty of hot, eligible ladies in their 30s and 40s. Just putting that out there.
Do my detractors now. I'm serious. Like, they're like, you do realize that
what's up,
live restreams are illegal.
Good to see you, dude.
They want me to sue them. I'm like,
by the way, your IRL stream with Snood last night was some of the most joyous content I've ever watched. Just so fucking fun to see you guys chilling together IRL, and you with your 3 keyboards, your setup is wild.
Sue anyone,
Big up, Sindred.
But they're just lucky that I don't ever hit the lotto. That would be it. But I'm not gonna hit the lotto. It ain't happening.
You could. All right. With that, I'm getting a little thirsty. Let's open up a call-in segment. This is supposed to be a call-in show, and I always forget to do those. If you want to hop on the troll phone, there's a link in the description for the Discord waiting room. Or you can call the following number. Number is 1-917-740-8933. 1-917-740-8933. If you're calling on the phone and you want to remain anonymous, feel free to use *67 before dialing. I'm going to pin that in the chat. Pin it in the chat so that it's up there. But if anybody would like to call on the phone or call on the Discord, we'll take some calls. If not, I'll just move on and we'll end the stream. That'll be that. That's perfectly fine. But man, what a week it's been. I was DMing. Who was I DMing the other day? I was talking to Iwamoto in DMs. We were talking about something. Oh yeah, we were talking about the Wheelie Steve video. And I told him, I was like, sometimes I forget half the shit Phil does in a week because it can get so fucking crazy, so fucking busy. Oh, we've got a caller on the phone. Hello, you're on the troll phone. What's up and what's on your mind?
Hey, Logan. It's Eric. How you doing?
Hey, Eric. How you doing today? What are your thoughts about Phil this morning? Hope you're having a good day.
I just find this man utterly fascinating. Phil, for the last 8 or 10 years, has been my reality TV show. And I used to watch a lot of, Snorpernell to check in on what he's doing. And for me, it's, what's going to happen next. I don't really wish him to go down. I don't recommend anybody wish him to go down. Just enjoy the ride, enjoy the show,
Yeah, I agree. I really agree with that, Eric. I was talking to I talk to my girlfriend a lot because I love her and I live with her. She asked me last week, she's like, so why do you watch Phil so much? Like, why do you consume so much Phil, even if it's through Detractor content? And I kind of said, it brings me back to the old days of like water cooler content where everybody in the office would watch the same TV show at the same time. And because that's kind of gone away with streaming and everything, but because Phil streams so consistently, he's basically like TV. He's something that we can all, get on Discord or Twitter and say, oh, did you hear that thing Phil said? Because half of all the Detractor streams are just people talking and saying, oh, did you hear this shit, man? It's wild. So
yeah, yes, sir. I remember even years ago, people having testimonies and stories of being like, this guy isn't real. This is a show. Like, this is just a guy, professional troll.
Yeah, totally.
It doesn't take long.
Go ahead.
It doesn't take long to realize, oh wait, this is the guy. This is him.
It's the guy. That's right. That's right.
This guy exists.
Yes.
He's the. I even heard somebody say he's the American stereotype that all non-Americans think we're like.
Correct. Yes.
And I love that. And whoever said that a long time ago, big ups. It's always stuck with me. And first world problems are the end of the world, the Karen stuff, all the, he's so fascinating, his psychology.
Yeah, the whole thing could be a weird kind of odd case study of people. Because if you want an example of like where entitlement and American exceptionalism gets you, it is Phil. It's 100% DSP. So
with a big heap of autism.
It's your turn, bro.
With that, but
Yes.
Also, I find it fascinating when he lashes out at trolls, thinking it'll have an effect other than motivating them.
It's just more shit for us to laugh at, That's how I look at it all the time. It's like, oh, he gave us another rant. Hell yeah, we're gonna see clips of this, and people are gonna talk over it. This is great.
And sometimes he rants so hard that I could tell he's trying to make a sting, like he's trying to really get to people. And I'm like, nah, man, you're just making them grin. You're making them smile.
We just don't care. We just don't care, and that irritates him so much. Anything else on your mind before I let you go? Because it looks like we got a couple people that might want to get in. Any parting words there, Eric?
Yeah, one last thing. I
Sure.
just cannot imagine being a streamer and having to gaslight the actual people that support you every day. I think it would be exhausting.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing I think most of the time. Like, aren't you tired, Phil? Like, I would be too tired to keep going if I had to expend that amount of mental energy on people that don't like me and people that I don't like. It just seems like it's too much, Yeah,
and like I said, it's the people that support him. They're the ones that he has to gaslight. And I would just find that, exhausting. That's just how I see that,
Yeah, it takes it's like high effort, low effort, because he is a low effort person, but he has to expend a lot of energy keeping the ruse going. It's very fascinating if you think about it.
Yes, sir. One last quick thing, and I'm off.
Sure.
His whole sponsorship and ethics thing, it's not any of that. He just knows he can't have a sponsorship, so he has to gaslight his fans and spin it into some kind of ethical nonsense.
Yes, that's correct. And it is cult behavior because cult leaders say, oh, I can't trust anybody out in the world to support me. That's why I need you. That's exactly what cult leaders say. I grew up in an evangelical megachurch that was very cult adjacent, and it was all that same kind of talk. Don't talk to people who are of the world. Talk to me. Talk to the church, you know? So.
Oh, my parting words are, Lefty, you got to come back to this nonsense because your impression of Phil is my favorite. So, take care.
While I got you on, Eric, I don't know if you were here earlier when I dropped it. I found a Hitman video recording that we did that both of us forgot that we recorded. So
nice.
I just got to edit that. That's going to be going up, and we're talking about doing some more Hitman maps after that. So expect some Hitman content from us in the coming future. But yeah, Lefty,
awesome, boss. I'll be listening.
Yeah, he calls in every now and again, and you may see him now and again when he's got the time. But thanks for calling in, Eric. I appreciate you.
Yeah, take care. We'll give other people a chance to talk. Take
All
care.
right, sounds good. Bye. All right, if anybody else wants to call in, either on the Discord side or the phone, feel free to. The lines, in the words of John Rambo, the phone lines are open. The phone lines are open. So go ahead and call in. I'm going to check over Discord here. Nothing in Discord. Oh, but the phone's ringing. Hello, you're on the troll phone. Who am I speaking with, and what's on your mind?
Not a razzle or a dazzle. No, it's Brazzle. How you doing, man?
Hey, Paul J Brazzle. Good to hear from you. How you doing?
How you doing, man? Hey, Paul J Brazzle.
Hey, turn your radio down.
Man. It's just me, this son. Yeah, I ain't gonna let you know that, man. I hate this dude. I've been hating this dude for almost 15 years.
Oh, hell yeah. So almost the entire time he's been posting. You are a long-time hater, Paul. Big ups to you.
Oh, man, I'm old school. No old school like old school. You already know that, right?
That's right. So anything specifically on your mind about the antics of this week?
This week, have you seen him last week when he sat there and he did that whole thing where he he did that big thing where you had to not be to get unbanned, you had to pay.
Yeah, yes, where he was basically saying to if you want this person to get unbanned on YouTube, you got to pay me $80. Yeah, he did that thing. I remember.
Pay me $80. Yeah, he did that thing. Dude, that's LTG levels of crazy right there.
That is LTG levels of like LTG saying, "Why don't you broke bitches pay up?" It's very funny.
Like LTG saying, "Why don't you broke bitches pay up?" It's very funny. Yeah, but man, I love this idea that you're going ahead and doing this hotline. A lot of us will go ahead and get to talk, and the whole important thing is we want to go ahead and just connect with other detractors and connect with you.
Yeah. One of the reasons why I did the phone line thing is people talk in the Discord servers a lot, but a lot of people don't want to use Discord or they're not on it. Using a phone gives other people a chance to at least talk on the stream. So I'm glad you're warming up to the idea. I appreciate you, Paul.
Yeah, that's wonderful. But can I do some shout outs?
Hell yeah, go ahead.
Right now I got the chat list, and there's some real cool guys out there. Cortez, I love you, man. Let me go ahead and man, I wish I could go ahead and get a shout out to the great one. The King, King, but he's not doing he's not doing the Marvel thing no more. I wish you could see the Marvel thing again.
Oh, King Jad?
Oh, well, I got King B. Cruel up there.
Oh, King B. Cruel, okay, there he is. Hey, King B. Cruel.
All right. Oh, King B. Cruel, okay, there he is. All right, now let me go ahead and get off here because I know somebody wants to get on this mug and go and talk.
All right, well, thanks for calling in, Paul. I appreciate you. Call again soon.
Oh, we love you, man. Go on ahead and be blessed. All right? Ciao.
Hell yeah. Have a blessed day, Paul. Paul J. Brazzle, everybody. What a guy. He's been hating on Phil for 15 years. Look at that guy. Oh, my God. I can't imagine. 15. Where was I 15 years ago? I was in college 15 years ago. I was 20 years old 15 years ago. Wild shit. If anybody else wants to call, the phones are open. The Discord chat room is open. I can take you. I could take you either way. Don't see anybody in the Discord waiting room, so I will keep my eye on the phone. Yeah, get your spoons ready. Get your spoons ready to eat. What I will say is we're eating good. 2024 was an incredible year for detracting, and 2025 probably going to be even better. I was getting emails about my tax preparation the other day. They're like, "Oh, your W-2 is going to be available from the company soon." So every time I get those W-2 reminders, I always think of Phil and what a trash fire his tax saga always is and is always going to be. So I'm looking forward to tax time, and honestly, this would be a good time if anybody has any predictions for 2025. Feel free to hit up the lines. I'll give y'all a couple more minutes to get in here, and if not, I'll end the stream. I'll end the stream and get into my household operations. But yeah, let's see. Oh yeah, Jay Wiseau says ever since he said the dream of having an interview, we've been eating good. Hell yeah, we've been eating so good. Every single thing since the interview. You're right. This all kind of started with him saying, "Now guys, I was sleeping last night and I had a dream that someone interviewed me and everybody understood. The internet got it. They understood. The internet didn't hate me anymore." And notice how he says today, the internet doesn't hate me anymore. The internet likes me now. But also he says, I'm the whipping boy of the internet. So apparently it's both. I don't know. His contradictions give you whiplash sometime. Okay, nobody else on the troll phone for now. I think I'm gonna call the stream, guys. I'm tired and parched, but thanks for calling in, Paul. I appreciate you. One more thing to shout out: Misery Merchant is gonna be streaming soon. So if y'all have not subscribed to Misery Merchant, please subscribe to Misery Merchant. Let me get their stuff up, and I'll post the link in the chat. I don't think there's anybody to redirect to other than the Raw Phil waiting room. But I will direct you to the Raw Phil waiting room nonetheless. But I hope everybody has a good day. I'm just gonna find the Misery Merchant link and get you guys out of here. All right, got that. All right, so hit that up in the chat. And yeah, I'll send you guys over to Raw Phil. But big ups everybody. Have a good day. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I appreciate you all. Thank you for the callers. Thank you for the contributions. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.